Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha, my skill upgrade experience remains the same. Chapter 21. It was getting dark. Shinta looked at Suna, Kongshin, and hands, busy with the flames. A fish was flipping up and down in her hand, grilled until golden. Paired with blue clothes and blonde single ponytail, it looks like a different kind of heroism. Uchiha Shinta spoke suddenly. Tsunade, how did you know I was at this practice range? Tsunade didn't look back, just turned the grilled fish over and adjusted the heat. Yesterday, after Nawaki came home, he kept talking about Kyoka Suigetsu. She starts with Y. He came to me specifically and asked me to accompany him in the test. I was thinking about how to make money from the casino, so I used Jonin level speed and directly crushed his attack. Having said this, Tsunade couldn't help but blush. Afterwards, Senju began to mutter, "It shouldn't be like this. Why didn't it flash?" and so on. After I ask clearly, I will directly say. Tsunade glanced at Uchiha Shinta, gritted his teeth and said frankly. To put it bluntly, timing is what every ninja wants to do, but it's impossible to fool the instincts of experienced ninjas with the clone technique alone. It is even more impossible to escape the lock of the ninja mystery. So, Kyoka Suigetsu is just using stronger experience and reaction speed to deceive inferior ninjas. Then Nawaki yelled at me that your esoteric is not like this. I haven't talked to me since last night, and I've been talking about it blankly. Speaking of this, Tsunade's mood changed slightly. Because I was worried about him, I came to the school gate after school in the afternoon, and followed you to try your skills. Now it seems that I am watching the sky from a well. You are obviously not as experienced as I am, and your reaction speed and seal formation speed are not fast, but you can play with me in the palm of your hand through the secret technique of Kyoka Suigetsu. Shinta rolled his eyes. My reaction speed is faster than you can imagine. You really are a real genius. After finishing speaking, Tsunade fell silent and continued to flip the cooked grass carp. Quote. Uchiha Shinta was silent from Tsunade's talk until after school started following. He originally raised the topic because he wanted to take advantage of the situation and ask Tsunade to keep today's matter a secret. But I didn't expect to be discovered because of being directly followed. He could already think of a picture. Shinta, I have the body replacement technique to control the radius of a kilometer. Enemy, you were followed after school. Shinta, I clone technique fractal transformation. Enemy, you were followed after school. Shinta, my transformation technique is ever changing. Enemy, you were followed after school. Quote. There is also the scene where Tsunade is triumphant and laughs wildly at everyone after he reaches the summit. Although Uchiha Shinta was able to beat me easily, I followed him for 8 blocks without being caught. Please call me Tail Queen. How do you want to cover up a black spot but find that there is a bigger one behind it? The glorious image of the future Unicron Uchiha Shinta was directly cast 2 shadows by Gangweak Chicken Hand in front of him this afternoon. Uchiha Shinta closed his eyes in pain. After waiting for a while, seeing that Shinta didn't reply, Tsunade handed the grilled fish to Uchiha Shinta. So, Shinta-kun, what are you going to do with me? At the same time, I tried to put on a free and easy look and asked about my fate. Quote. Until you can beat me, keep today's affairs a secret. With nowhere to go, Uchiha Shinta continued to try to make a sound by pretending to be a ruthless boss. Quote. Quote. Just this request. Tsunade is amazed. I thought that Shinta would propose to plant a curse mark, threaten to steal ninjutsu for him, etc. Just now, Tsunade had already thought about how tough he would be if he refused to accept it if the request was too much, and the tragic situation of being abused again. After all, I provoked him twice and was easily let go, so I must have something for myself. Who would have thought it was such a simple request? Tsunade's brain was running fast, and he agreed at the same time. Okay, then it's a deal. Here, Shinta-kun, eat the fish first. Uchiha Shinta took the grilled fish, wrapped it in chakra, tore half of it and handed it to Tsunade, nodding to her. Tsunade is also very hungry, so I ate it directly after receiving it. Seeing Tsunade's normal expression, Uchiha small-minded self and others. Shinta began to speak. One bite, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. While the fish meat inside is fully cooked, it also has a kind of bounce. The taste is very delicious, and the taste is very good. Compared with Shinta's grilled fish technique today, it's a world of difference. Hey, isn't it good? Tsunade approached with a smile, trying to teach cooking skills. I use healing jutsu to keep the fish fresh before grilling to keep the fish tender. When grilling, use the fire nature transformation chakra to continuously sense the temperature, and the water nature transformation chakra to maintain moisture, so as to ensure that the fish is completely cooked without being burned. Tsunade talked about the key points of grilled fish with joy and pride. This is a little trick I figured out when I was out on a mission. It's very practical. So every time the task is free, I will take the opportunity to get myself some wild game. I feel that the relationship with Uchiha Shinta has become much closer through grilled fish, so Tsunade's speech is less restrained. As for the conflict just now, Tsunade, there's no conflict. It's just that we are competing. By the way, Shinta, what are your plans for the future? I will probably stay in school for a few years. Then graduate from an ordinary school, get an ordinary wife, and find a place with beautiful mountains and rivers to live forever. Uchiha Shinta responded to Tsunade, tearing at the fish with his teeth. As an acquaintance on the screen, in the previous life, Shinta did have a natural initial affection when getting along with Tsunade. So now that the atmosphere has calmed down, getting along with each other is more relaxed. When chatting, I don't put on airs, but just keep reminding myself to maintain style. Right now, it's time to set up a character set of a peerless genius. Haven't you thought about graduating early? Maybe you can set the record for the fastest promotion. Faced with Tsunade's instigation, Shinta is indifferent. Genius like me, no matter whether I graduate or not, I can grow. Since that's the case, why should I take on missions and take risks when I can practice with peace of mind? That's right, you still have 3 years to graduate. Well, you can challenge me for these 3 years. Of course you can also after graduation. Hi, I will beat you up when I crack your technique. Something is wrong. Uchiha Shinta looked suspiciously at Tsunade. She is answering irrelevant questions. Facing Shinta's gaze, Tsunade unceremoniously stood up and took off from the airport. Say you have nothing to fear. Shinta turned his head and continued to deal with the grilled fish. It seemed that he was thinking too much. Seeing Shinta look away, Tsunade secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The fact that I plan to apply for a class teacher in 3 years must not be revealed now. Otherwise, wouldn't there be no surprises, scares? By Tsunade. About Nawaki, tell him when you get home, I have already taught him the key ideas. As for actual combat, not everyone has to use the clone technique. Instead, you should create your own, Kyoka Suigetsu, according to your own characteristics. Tsunade rolled his eyes. I know, Kyoka Suigetsu is a technique that belongs to you alone. Isn't the concept the same as the fighting rules taught in ninja schools? No one thought that ninja can be created from here. So Nawaki is struggling with how to create his own technique just like you. Uchiha Shinta looked up after eating half a piece of grilled fish, and saw that Tsunade had already finished eating and was stretching out his hands to warm the fire. He stood up and said, then tell him something for me. Creating art requires inspiration. Before there is no inspiration, learn more and work hard to enrich yourself. Only with foundation can you create amazing art. Shinta went to the lake to wash his hands, then turned to look at Tsunade. It's getting dark, go back first. Find me after you think about the challenge. Tsunade also stood up. Okay, then go back to the village together. Uchiha Shinta and Tsunade jumped up, stomping on tree trunks in ninja fashion, and came to a road intersection in the village. Uchiha Shinta said hello to Tsunade, and returned directly to the Uchiha tribe. Tsunade looked at Shinta's back from behind, hesitated to speak, and finally turned back to the Senju mansion. Today's day brought her too many questions. Why is Uchiha Shinta so powerful? How did he use his technique of completely dodging attacks? What impact does Shinta's presence have on the village? Etc., etc. Don't look at her calmness on the surface just now, but in reality, there are turbulent waves in the dark. Tsunade felt that he needed to take a good look back at what happened today. Of course, the agreement still has to be abided by. Tsunade doesn't want to become C in this way. No words all night. Uchiha Shinta came to the school the next day and was a little relieved to see that Naoki had returned to normal and showed that, I am the second in the class, energy again. After all, I managed to save another Konoha seedling by beating Tsunade. Short for, help. That afternoon, Uchiha Shinta came to the training ground again to prepare to practice the ninjutsu he knew, otherwise he would draw A every time and damage his image. This time no one will bother you. Shinta came to the lake where the fish was grilled last time, and made mudras with both hands. A flame sprayed on the surface of the lake, and white mist rose from the water. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Zila. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Zila. Quote. The time just keeps passing while practicing ninjutsu and daily classes. In a blink of an eye, 2 weeks later. It happened to be the weekend, and Uchiha came to the lake near the training ground as usual. At this moment, the water of the lake has dropped a bit. Obviously, Shinta practiced too diligently, which caused the surrounding groundwater to not be replenished in time. Shinta walked to the edge of the lake and stood still, without making a seal, and directly raised his hand to his mouth. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Roar. I saw a 100-meter-long blue 5-claw vacuum spit out from Uchiha Shinta's mouth. Mouth growls. It has a head like a camel, horns like a deer, eyes like a rabbit, ears like a cow, a neck like a snake, a belly like a mirage, scales like a carp, claws like an eagle, and palms like a tiger. There are 81 scales on its back, with 99 yang numbers. Its sound is like a copper plate. There are beards beside the mouth, pearls under the chin, and reverse scales under the throat. Angular and majestic. Looking at the roaring blue dragon on the lake, Uchiha Shinta paid attention to the property panel and nodded with satisfaction. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Elf 21 1800s. Your dragon fire technique is astonishing as ever. Your fire attribute nature transformation has never been seen before, and there will be no one since. Evaluation. Molten gold and iron, everything is incombustible. Manipulating the fire dragon and circling a dozen times, Uchiha Shinta waved away the dragon fire technique. For more than half a month, except for taking Uchiha Makoto out to play in the street every 2 days, he went to the training ground every day after school to practice ninjutsu. In the evening, chakra is refined at home. After long-term persistence and a little talent plug-in support, I finally got enough returns. Now, Uchiha Shinta is fully qualified to shout, I am no longer a human being. But worried that Suna, Tail King, and Hand would suddenly appear again, Shinta still restrained the urge. He sank his consciousness into the attribute panel in his mind. Name, Uchiha Shinta. Age, 7 years old. Energy, Chakra 13,628, Cage Level Standard Chakra 5,000-20000. Skill, Clone Technique. Elf 36 27 100ths. Your clone technique can create clones at will, and use chakra to shape them. No matter how far away, your thoughts are always flowing in the double. Evaluation. Fractal and shadow, everything is the same. Transformation Technique. Elf 34 32 100ths. Your transformation technique can reach down to the genetics. You can be derived from flesh and blood, ever-changing. Evaluation. Change as you like, let you do whatever you want. Body Replacement Technique. Elf 37 63 100ths. Your body replacement technique is about to transcend the 8th sense. You have transcended life and death, and are not in reincarnation. Evaluation. Reversing cause and effect, borrowing things to replace forms. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Elf 21 18 100ths. Your dragon fire technique is astonishing as ever. Your fire attribute nature transformation has never been seen before, and there will be no one since. Evaluation. Melting gold and iron, burning everything. Narakumi Technique. Elf 35 23 100ths. Your Narakumi technique is eroding reality. You left your thoughts in the illusion of nothingness. Death is but a great dream to you. Comments. You can see the fear of others. Physique Strange Power. LV 33 74 100ths. Your strange power has been integrated into every move. As you use chakra more, you can increase power exponentially. Evaluation. The one with strange powers and gods, Cha Tonla. Chakra Refining Technique LV6 13100. You can instantly refine a lot of chakra. Control your chakra down to the last minute. Your chakra begins to change. You can perform more powerful ninjutsu with less chakra. Evaluation. Check the 1000 carats. General evaluation. Dapeng rises with the same wind in one day, soaring up to 90,000 miles. All ninjutsu have been mastered. Clone technique can be arbitrarily cloned, and the manipulation distance and duration are immeasurable. During clone technique LV20 a few days ago, Shinta split a clone and went to the Valley of the End to see the waterfall, but the result has not dissipated until now. The key is that the consciousness of clone technique and Shinta are fully synchronized, unlike shadow clone, which has the disadvantage of not knowing the news until it is released. Transformation technique can change shape at will. Shinta transformed into a cat cub 3 days ago, standing on the Hokage rock overlooking all living beings. The body replacement technique is getting stronger and stronger, and Shinta can clearly feel that the weight of his substitute is getting higher and higher. There is a feeling of going deeper into the world. Dragon fire technique can release a blue fire dragon with a temperature of more than 2000 degrees, and everything will be turned into ashes when the flame passes by. Narakumi technique is what Shinta focuses on practicing, and now it can change reality according to the fear of the practitioner like Kurama's Shueiji. Tsunade's dream can come true in the next competition. And after the operation is over, the illusion space will not disappear. Instead, return to nothingness with a template that has lost its change, which carries Shinta's ideas, and fear can be observed. When the spell is performed next time, the template will reappear. Even when Shinta's body and soul in the outside world are destroyed, in addition to the body replacement technique to reverse the cause and effect, it can also use illusion to cover reality. Immortality has been improved again. However, probably because of too much practice with rabbits, Shinta now has a lot of wolves and eagles jumping out of him whenever he uses Narakumi technique. Not very friendly to the Inuzuka family. Strange power has been integrated into chakra since LV10. At LV15, it has been fully integrated with chakra manipulation, and can be manipulated at will. Under the influence of the current strange power technique, Shinta's chakra is exactly like the true energy in martial arts novels. It can turn the energy into a gangster, and throw the enemy far away from the shock. As for the most important boosting power of strange power, Shinta can uproot trees like twigs with 10 points of chakra, and easily break the sound barrier with a punch. Because the strange power technique is mainly chakra's force, the body needs to carry a low force, so there is no need to worry about damaging the body at all. You can practice it often, and you will improve quickly. After the final chakra refining technique was upgraded to LV6, Shinta sensed that his own will began to integrate into chakra, and chakra began to change qualitatively. When using ninjutsu again, the consumption is less and the power is greater. This should be the difference between cage-level ninjas and ordinary ninjas. Such as the coldness of Orochimaru, the warmth of Naruto and more. Of course, the so-called cage level and super cage level are shorthands for the judgment of combat power, and have nothing to do with the identity in the Hokage world. Walking in the ninja world in the future, Shinta can pretend to be an illusion ninja, and then give a strong attack after being approached by the enemy. Or use fire style to attack from a distance first, and wait for the enemy to approach and trap with illusion. Etc., etc. When Uchiha Shinta was thinking about how to use ninjutsu with tactics pretend in the future, his ears moved slightly, and suddenly he heard a shout from far to near. Whoa! He turned his head to look at the entrance of the training ground, which was the direction from which the voice came. I saw a green-skinned monster shouting and rushing in from the direction of Konoha village. Then compare your thumbs to yourself. Young man from the Uchiha family. Do you want to train together? The big white teeth that bared reflect the sunlight. Might wear it. Uchiha Shinta took a careful look at the famous green skin in front of him. Whether it is the 10,000 years genin that has been called for nearly 20 years, or the blue beast that will be short-lived in the future. The thick black eyebrows are drawn to the left and right. The high-spirited shoulders and bright smile make people feel happy at first glance. But the weird green leather bodysuit immediately brings the score down. Judging from his expression, he doesn't care at all about other people's weird eyes. The Book of Formation has a very high official evaluation of him. Don't get lost, keep going straight. Indomitable, great 10,000 years genin. keep guarding what is important to you. This is a steadfast man who has found his own path. That's right, I might die. He showed his shiny teeth again, put his thumbs up to the tip of his mouth, and scraped from left to right. The corners of Uchiha Shinta's mouth twitched. Is it really the strength obtained by sacrificing the lower limit? I will never do this in the future. Start raising your style today and be a high-quality, forceful person. Uchiha Shinta thought to himself. Might die is probably used to the sudden silence when others talk to him, so he only heard him continue to say. I can see you walking to the training ground every afternoon, practicing until evening and then going back. I don't need to go out on a mission today, so I came here early to take a look. Sure enough, you are here. The passion of youth is not let down. I'm really excited. Might Die suddenly burst into tears while talking, and then suddenly realized with a hammer with both hands. By the way, forgot to ask your name. Uchiha Shinta. Shinta answered casually. After thinking about it carefully, Shinta found that there were indeed green lumps running past on the way here after school every day. I didn't expect it to be him. Probably because Might Day's daily training has been integrated into the life of Konoha village. Just like passing by the chairs in the park square every day after school and get off work, who would usually pay attention to them. Oh, it's Shinta-kun. Then do you want to train together? I can give you a set of comfortable, transparent, and well-fitting non-sale training clothes. Absolutely not. He doesn't match my temperament. Facing the green leather tights that Might took out from behind, Uchiha Shinta resolutely refused. Really don't want it. It's very comfortable to wear. After wearing it, the power of youth will surge up. Seeing that Might Die was still posing unrelentingly, trying to sell tights that no one bought, Shinta quickly interrupted. He deliberately asked Might Die. You exercise every day, and what you practice is 8 inner gates. Oh, Shinta boy, do you understand it too? That's right, I'm practicing 8 inner gates. Because it's what suits me best. Might Die said seriously. After all, I only need to go through persistent, unconventional, overloaded, and limit-breaking training to give me the strength to protect everything. Is there anything better in the world? Yes, right across from you. Uchiha Shinta wanted to reply, yes, in his heart, but opened his mouth and asked. Then have you ever thought about what if this persistence lasts for 20 years? There are still all kinds of confusion and ridicule in the middle, and even your family and your children may not support you. Can you still hold on? Facing Shinta's question, Might Die was silent for a while. Then he bared his signature big white teeth again, laughing loudly. Ha 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 ha, Shinta boy, I admit that I was hesitant when I heard your words just now. However, youth can never shrink back. Since I have chosen this path of guarding my dreams, I will definitely stick to it. This is my youth. Uchiha Shinta looked at the excited green-skinned boy in front of him, and suddenly smiled. He admitted that some were infected by this man. Some people's persistence can drive the people around them to change together. Are you motivating yourself with youth? But persistence is not that simple. In that case, let me make up for you the most important part of youth. And in order not to let such persistence be passed down through life and death. Thought Uchiha Shinta. Might Die stopped suddenly and asked a question. The most important part of youth. Not bad. That's the goal. Starting today, I will meet you to fight here once a year. No matter who loses, we will chase after the opponent. After all, youth is incomplete without catching up. Might Die heard tears in his eyes. Good. So excited. Finally someone understands my youth. I agree with your agreement. Uchiha Shinta nodded, and the chakra in his body was racing to overflowing. Stretching out his right hand, chakra attached himself, directly uprooting the big tree hugged by the two people next to him, and the surrounding tens of meters shook in an instant. Shinta pulled out the legs stuck in the soil, poured chakra in his hands, and waved the big tree. The branches and leaves fell off one after another, leaving only a cylindrical trunk in his hand, and the fracture seemed to be broken by force. He only heard him say to the stunned Might Die. Then let's start now. First duel. The name is, excited youth often fails. This is, what a power, Might Die exclaimed. Then cheer up. That's how powerful it is, that's my goal. 8 inner gates. The first door, open the door, open. Second gate, Hue gate, open. Third gate, Life gate, open. The green chakra arrogance shines all over Might. Shinta boy, watch out. I'm going to kill. Might Dai bent over and assumed a sprinting pose. Shua, Might Dai is gone. Have you been able to drive to the third gate? Uchiha Shinta rolled his eyes to the left, and his extremely quick reaction under stress made it easy for him to spot Might Dai's whereabouts. 8 inner gates is a technique in the Hokage world to gain powerful power by opening the 8 gates that are inherent in the human body. According to the information inquired by Uchiha Shinta, these 8 gates are the restraints of chakra in the human body, controlling the safety valve for refining chakra. When these safety valves are opened one by one, the human chakra refinement goes over the limit. As we all know, chakra is a fusion of physical energy and spiritual energy absorbed from the 130 trillion cells in the human body. After the 8 gates are fully opened, it is to burn all the vitality, that is, the energy of the body, to extract a super huge amount of chakra at one time. It is said to be dozens of times that of the 5 cages, it should be dozens of times that of the 3rd generation, but it certainly does not refer to Senju Hashirama, thus bringing the power to its fullest potential. And the result is a chard like Might Dai. Unlike some fan works, the 8th gate is the gate of the meridians of the human body. Opening it is like opening the 2 meridians of Ren and Du, penetrating through the sky, and can receive the aura of heaven and earth. If that's the case, Might Dai shouldn't be a chard. It's about improving his skills or exploding to death. After all, he can't burn himself without practicing fire attribute skills, right? Closer to home, the so-called 8th gate, only the first 3 gates are relatively safe. The first door, open the door, remove the restriction of the brain region, in order to achieve the purpose of exerting 100% of the physical ability, overload the body energy to increase the attack power and speed. Second gate, shut the gate, lift the limitation of physical fatigue, squeeze the body energy to restore physical strength, and offset the fatigue caused by the energy consumption speed of opening the gate. Third gate, life gate, further increase the attack power and speed, the body begins to congest and turn red. This is also the last safe area of 8 inner gates, the body begins to emit green chakra. As for the 4th gate, the injury gate, while increasing the attack power and speed on the basis of the 3rd gate, the body began to suffer damage, entering the danger zone of the 8 inner gates, and entering the state of the 8 inner gates in the true sense. Right now Might Dai is clearly talented for the 8 inner gates. Right now, he is at most 16 or 17 years old, he has only been in contact with him for a few years, and he has no one to teach him. 8 inner gates can reach the point of opening the 3rd gate. Or, 8 inner gates needs people like Might Dai to work hard to make beautiful flowers bloom. With the message of 8 inner gates in mind, Uchiha Shinta swung the tree trunk to parry Might Dai's attack. Under the infusion of chakra, the trunk just pulled out as strong as a diamond. In the effect of the strange power technique LV33, Uchiha Shinta's chakra can resist all attacks whose force does not exceed the power of the strange power technique. Therefore, although Might Dai launched an attack from all directions, Shinta used the tree trunk to block it easily from left to right, and the attack had no effect. After letting Might Dai attack for a while, Shinta spoke. Is this your attack? If it is not stronger, I will accept the victory of this duel. After finishing speaking, Uchiha Shinta locked Might Dai's moving direction with the perception of body replacement technique. After aiming, he swung the tree trunk at high speed, and there was a sonic boom with a bang, and white water vapor surrounded the tree trunk. Thunder 8 trigrams. War. Let teacher Shinta take you to understand the scenery of power. Boom. Might Dai was directly thrown into the lake tens of meters away. Uchiha Shinta threw away the intact tree trunk and walked to the edge of the lake to stand still. After waiting for a while, with a wow, Might emerged from the water wearing a probe and climbed directly to the surface of the water. Then he flicked the water from his eyes, and walked ashore with such a wet tread on the water. How are you? Uchiha Shinta asked. Might Dai shook his head. I'm fine. Did you control the power when you attacked last? Otherwise, at that speed, I will definitely not be spared. So this time you win. Then Might Dai yelled loudly. However, I will never give up easily. On this day next year, I will challenge you again. You won't be disappointed. Uchiha Shinta looked at him equally seriously. In this case, I will wait for you to challenge next year. Okay, I lost the duel with you today, so I decided to run 5 more laps. Let's go. Might Dai immediately lifted his spirits and started his unique, self-restraint, of this line. Uchiha Shinta watched Might Dai about to run away, and suddenly thought of a question. Day, what made you want to fight? It's because I have a girl I like. So I must never let her down. Might Dai bared his big white teeth, raised his thumb with his right hand and stroked from the left to the right corner of his mouth. Straight teeth are shining in the sun. Uchiha Shinta understands. Oh, so it's youth. After saying goodbye to the youthful and passionate Might Dai, Uchiha Shinta was completely relieved. After all, you have no idea what people who have abandoned the lower limit can do to make your eyes hot. He looked around, looked at the sky, and found that it was only around 10 o'clock in the morning. Shinta, who was interrupted by Might Dai for a while, also lost interest in practicing. The bone marrow, touching fish, gene broke out again, and Uchiha Shinta walked directly to Makoto's house. He decided to relax today. In the days without mobile phones and computers, only human cubs can soothe the heart of 7-year-old Uchiha Shinta. Not long after, Shinta, who used the body replacement technique to block the movement of walking, came to Makoto's house. Just as he was about to knock on the door, two voices, one big and one small, came from inside, and then the door opened directly. First, Makoto's mother exhorted. Makoto, when we get to Aunt's house, please behave yourself. Mom told the aunts that Makoto is the cutest kid in Konoha. The other is Makoto's cute response. Mom, I've always been very good. However, if you perform well later, can you buy me 3 color balls? Okay, but Makoto can't eat too much, or his teeth will be broken. So you can eat up to 2 skewers. Hey, it's Shinta-kun. Mama Makoto opened the door and found Uchiha Shinta. She leaned forward and teased. Is Shinta-kun here to play with Makoto again? But Makoto keeps saying that he's going to play with her, Kyoko Aunt's house, so I'm going to take her away. What should I do? Ah, is it Shinta Oni-chan? Mom, get out of the way. Let me live. Oni-chan, are you here to play with me? Hearing that Shinta was coming, Uchiha Makoto squeezed out quickly, and looked at Uchiha Shinta nervously, for fear that he would say, no. Uchiha Shinta nodded to Makoto first, and then said helplessly to Makoto's mother. Aunt, don't talk to me like a kid every time. And if Makoto wants to be a guest with me, I can come back tomorrow morning. Makoto's mother immediately pretended to be wronged and covered her face. Sure enough, Shinta-kun has grown up, and people don't talk anymore. Makoto, do you want to visit with Mom or with Shinta-kun? Immediately Makoto excitedly held her mother's hand. I want to hang out with Oni-chan. And raised a finger like a little adult. We will eat well, come back before dark in the afternoon. Stay away from rivers and lakes. Hold Oni-chan's hand tightly. Makoto's mother laughed out loud. Haha, how cute. Shinta-kun, it looks like Makoto is very attached to you Oni-chan. I'll give her to you today. Uchiha Shinta holds out a finger for Makoto to grab. Don't worry, I'll bring Makoto back by afternoon. Okay, I'm relieved to hand Makoto to Shinta-kun. You guys go play. Aunt is going to be a guest. After finishing speaking, he squatted down and gave Makoto a few words, then walked towards the center of the Uchiha family with swaying steps. Looking at the back of Makoto's mother, Shinta took Makoto and walked towards the commercial street. What is Makoto going to play today? Oni-chan, you haven't come to see me for 3 days. Today I want to eat 3 color meatballs and play with paper nets to catch fish. I also want to set a ring. Okay, then let's play one by one. Ha 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 ha, let's play paper net fishing. Quote. Silver bells of laughter fell in front of the door, embellishing the joy of Uchiha Makoto's childhood. Fishing with paper nets is a favorite game among Konoha children. This game is both lively and fun, and it can exercise the accuracy of force, speed of action, and reaction speed. Naturally, it has been unanimously affirmed by residents of Konoha village. Shinta carried a bag of 3 or 5 skewers of meatballs, and led Makoto to find a shady booth with few people. The booth says no chakra, no white eyes, no Sharingan. One net breaks and it's over. It seems that the stall owner is also threatened by ninjas, so the blatant cheating is excluded. After Uchiha Shinta went up to talk with the boss, he brought back 5 paper nets. The paper used for the paper net is extremely light, similar to the peach blossom paper used to paste kites. It can be punctured with a little force. Passed 3 paper nets to Uchiha Makoto, who was eating the last meatball, and Shinta got her another paper towel. Come on, wipe your hands with paper first. Well, come and play with O'Neill, we catch more fish than anyone else. Be gentle, take your time. Look, that's it, we got it. Wow, Oni-chan is amazing, I'll come too. I got it too. Ah, Oni-chan, my paper net is broken. Then change it, here it is. Ha 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 ha. With quick reflexes and extremely high control, Uchiha Shinta caught a big bowl of fry in no time. Under the pitiful eyes of the boss, Shinta put the last small fish he picked up in a small bowl with water on the side, and looked sideways at Uchiha Makoto playing there with a smile. From time to time, I handed her a good fishing paper net. After 5 paper nets were used up, Makoto recognized Shinsu and counted the small fish he and Uchiha Shinta scooped up. I found that I had a few more than Shinta in my bowl, looked up and saw that Shinta was talking to the boss about a waterproof bag, and secretly poured a few from my bowl. When Shinta came over with a large waterproof bag, Makoto took credit for him with 2 bowls. Oni sauce, you catch more fish. Really, Makoto is also very good. He caught so much. Come on, put it all in this bag, and raise it at shocking deer, after returning home. After Uchiha Shinta praised, he bent down and opened the waterproof bag, and asked Makoto to pour 2 bowls of fish fry. Yeah, Ernie-chan, are we going to play hoops next? Okay, see what Makoto wants to play with Oni-chan and take you there. Quote. The sun moves westward. Time flies. Uchiha Shinta and Makoto played for 1 day on the way back. Uchiha Makoto asked suddenly, Oni-chan, can I go to school? Oh, why does Makoto want to go to school? In this way, you can see Oni-chan every day. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha Shinta laughed. Then Makoto has to eat well and grow up. By this time next year, he will be able to go to school with Oni-chan every day. Okay, Oni-chan, let's make a deal. Pull the hook. Uchiha Makoto looked at Shinta happily and held out his little finger. Hook, hang yourself. 100 years. Don't change. It was almost dark when Uchiha Shinta sent Makoto home. So he didn't stay too long, and said goodbye directly after dinner at the invitation of Makoto's mother. When I got home and opened the door, Uchiha Shinta stepped out and felt wrong. Looking down, there is a letter on the ground. Uchiha Shinta Kinkai is written on the cover. Apparently it wasn't the wrong door. Shinta picked it up and took it apart to see that it was written for himself. Shinta-kun, it's been half a month since we last met. I always keep my promise to Shinta-kun in mind. But these days, I feel that I have made great progress. So, Shinta-kun, please come to Hokage Rock tomorrow morning. The losers respect. At the end of the article, 2 crossed kunai are drawn. The full text is concise and clear, and there is no specific person who signed it, but Uchiha Shinta can see it at a glance. The one who challenges himself, and is so polite, the one who has beaten himself is obviously Tsunade. But if you dare to challenge yourself again, could it be that you have been promoted to cage level? Chakra in the ninja world is made up of the fusion of body and spirit. Therefore, ninja can be said to be an open profession. For example, so happy, spirit lifted, chakra increased. Too sad, spirit lifted, chakra increased. Strong, spiritually uplifted, chakra increased. Quote. Etc., etc. As long as the ninja's emotions and desires change and his spirit grows, chakra will increase. So it's not just the prince and Urzuzi who are hanging out. The whole ninja world is on. It's just that some people are big, and some people are small. And Tsunade was hit by Uchiha Shinta. It's normal to be stimulated to grow mentally. Of course, it is also possible that Princess Tsunade secretly contacted the 800 swordsmen, and hid under the Hokage rock, waiting for an order, and broke out to besiege herself. Uchiha Shinta thought about it, put the letter on the table and went to sleep. What is the purpose of practicing ninjutsu hard after time travel? The purpose is to avoid using your mind to speculate about conspiracies when encountering emergencies. Be a good fighter who convinces people with reason. The next morning, the sun rises in the east as usual. After Uchiha Shinta woke up, he took a leisurely shower and prepared breakfast. After breakfast, it was almost 9 o'clock. Uchiha Shinta just started heading towards Hokage Rock. After all, yesterday's letter didn't make an appointment for a specific time, did it? Uchiha Shinta jumped on the roof, and soon came to the bottom of the Hokage Rock. With chakra under his feet, he stepped onto the rock wall and jumped directly onto the head of first Hokage to stand still. Looking around, Uchiha Shinta found Tsunade as expected. She was wearing a bamboo hat, with her arms crossed, standing on the head of third Hokage. Uchiha Shinta turned on the body replacement technique state again, sensing a radius of 100 meters. As a result, except for Tsunade's obviously qualitatively enhanced chakra, no one else was found there. It seems that this game is not a hangman banquet. Tsunade was the first to say hello. Shinta-kun, you really came. It seems that the letter has been received. I asked you out today because I want to challenge you again. Thus cancelling the last agreement. Chakras qualitatively changed. Tsunade is a little excited. Hearing this, the corners of Uchiha Shinta's mouth rose. Is that so? Since you are so confident, Tsunade, let's start with illusions like last time. Tsunade, dare not be careless. Immediately raise your guard and stop staring at Uchiha Shinta's face. Although Uchiha Shinta did not directly show a powerful illusion last time, the Sharingan, a member of the Uchiha clan, must not be underestimated. Uchiha from 3 Tomo Sharingan can even cast Muji illusion. Contrary to Tsunade's expectation, Uchiha Shinta did not use the meaning of Sharingan, but clapped his hands, and the illusion was activated directly. Illusion Naraku C technique. Uchiha Shinta's voice echoed in my ears. All of a sudden, Tsunade felt dizzy. Come to a lively big house by yourself. Tsunade looked up at the writing on the house and read it. Konoha Casino. Tsunade walked forward subconsciously, unaware that he was back to his 6 or 7-year-old appearance. Walking into the gambling house, the crowd inside is turbulent, very lively. Big, go big, ... quote, small, squeeze small. Leopard, quote, ... quote. Tsunade walked in a daze. Suddenly feeling someone behind him, Tsunade looked back. I saw Senju Hashirama, Uzumaki Mido, parents, Nawaki, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, etc. looking at me. They said to themselves with hand gestures, Tsunade, sister, come on. As if logic was suppressed in sleep, Tsunade didn't feel anything wrong. With the encouragement of these people behind him, Tsunade began to swagger and began to participate in various types of gambling games such as Pai Gow and roulette. In the first game, the big turntable was turned on. Tsunade won the odd number, but Senju Hashirama disappeared behind him. In the second round, playing dice, Tsunade rolled out 666 to win, but Senju Tobarama disappeared behind him. In the third and fourth rounds, when playing Pai Gow, Tsunade felt that something was wrong, deliberately messed up, and finally won again with inexplicable luck. But Tsunade's parents also disappeared. And every time before the figure disappears, they will come to Tsunade's ear and say, Tsunade must be strong. When the dice were played again in the fifth game, Tsunade obviously realized that as long as he wins, an important person will leave under the inexplicable rules. She began to deliberately delay the time, and kept waving the dice in her hands, refusing to drop them. But in the rules of this gambling game, there is a time limit for rolling the dice. When the time came, the dice in Tsunade's hand fell on the table with a bang. Tsunade quickly suppressed it with both hands. Seeing that as long as he raises the dice the person behind him will disappear again. The terrified Tsunade didn't want to play anymore. He pressed the dice hard and burst into tears. But the people around kept yelling and urging. Hurry up, drive, open. Under the strong psychological pressure, Tsunade's emotions began to collapse. In the last process, Tsunade could clearly feel that he was under the illusion, but there was no way out at all. He just felt himself falling step by step. Experience the pain and fear of the constant departure of loved ones. The next moment, the entire illusion shattered. Uchiha Shinta looked at Tsunade with a smile. Just now I saw your worst fear through illusion. I didn't expect the gambler Tsunade to be so afraid of winning the game. It's really a big world, full of wonders. Tsunade, who just came back from the world of illusion, heard Uchiha Shinta's words and reacted. She just thinks that the sun on Hokage Rock is too hot. She was so hot that she shed tears. Hokage Rock. Tsunade, with tears streaming from his eyes, was slightly silent. But it is probably because Nawaki and the others are still alive, and the dead cannot be resurrected. Tsunade has also experienced the pain of the death of her relatives before. So she quickly wiped away her tears and adjusted her emotions. Shinta-kun, your illusion is really... Tsunade paused for a moment, thinking about the feeling just now. It's disgusting. As a ninja, she instinctively analyzed the effect of the illusion just now. I didn't look into Shinta's eyes just now, and you didn't do anything other than clap your hands. So it's not by sight that I hypnosis. Is that the sound of your clasped palms? Or is there a special intonation in saying, Narukumi technique? Is it the special sound illusion you transformed? Tsunade carefully observes Uchiha Shinta's expression, trying to get feedback from him. But no information can be drawn from his smile and eyes at all, we can only continue to infer. It still doesn't look right. A normal illusion is to attack the enemy's 5 senses, making them fall into hallucinations. At this time, as long as you can disturb the flow of chakra in the brain nerves, you can release the illusion. And when I fell into the illusion just now, Katsuyu, who was summoned in advance, kept inputting chakra to me, but it had no effect. This already belongs to the category of special illusion. At this time, following Tsunade's gesture, a Katsuyu crawled out of her sleeve, swam to her shoulder, and nodded at Uchiha Shinta. Also, when I fell into the illusion just now, I felt like my mind was back to my childhood. In the face of all kinds of loopholes, the rationality of it is completely ignored. For example, the appearance of my grandfather and others. There are other people in the casino, and now I think about it, they are all human figures drawn with strokes. But in my impression at the time, they were living real people. Your illusion completely suppresses the logical thinking of the practitioner. Only in this way can it be explained clearly. Speaking of this, Tsunade's tone was complicated. If you say that, you let it go again. Just now I thought I broke free this time. You should have been able to make me experience fear over and over again in my 6-year-old mind just now. Uchiha Shinta nodded in agreement upon hearing this. Exactly. The key to my technique is to suppress the enemy's logical thinking ability. For example, a fire-style great fireball technique attack, normal people will think of avoiding it and resist it with ninjutsu, but people with abnormal logic only have the choice to use their bodies to receive it. After being caught in this illusion of mine, naturally only the consciousness of fear remains, and the other consciousness of escaping, bearing, and resisting does not exist at all. That's why I said, I can see your fear. Uchiha Shinta means a lot. Tsunade also recalled the scene of the last meeting, but he was still not convinced. That can only scare the rabbit to death. Ha ha. Seeing Tsunade's arrogant look, Uchiha Shinta chuckled. It can scare the eagle to death. Tsunade was about to refute, when he suddenly heard the sound of falling from above, and hurriedly dodged more and more. Boom! I saw an eagle hit the place where Tsunade was just now. Gang, from the heart and hands, change your mouth immediately. Sure enough, Shinta-kun's illusion is the best in Konoha. Satisfied, Uchiha Shinta lowered his palms together again. Looks like it's Tsunade-ji, you know my skills, unlike those little kids from the ninja school, who can't see where my skills are at all. After complaining about the group of students in Genin school who only said, "See Gui," Uchiha Shinta turned and prepared to leave. Bridge bean sack, quote. Shinta turned around and saw Tsunade making a, or kang, appearance. Shinta-kun, last time we fought twice, this time it should be twice. Quote. When I put a question mark, it's not me who has a problem, but you who have a problem. Uchiha Shinta has only one question mark now. Let's not talk about the last 2 one-sided beatings that gave Tsunade the illusion that it was a duel, but isn't today's crushing game enough for her to see the gap? Facing Uchiha Shinta's question, Tsunade spoke out his thoughts directly and hooked provocatively. I want to fight Shinta-kun's Kyoka Suigetsu again. It's so nice of Shinta-kun to say in school. If someone finds out, it will only make Kyoka Suigetsu stronger. I guess you will agree to my request to challenge Kyoka Suigetsu. What can a man do in the face of what he says? Of course, Go all the way and never look back. But, you can't tell me to go, I will go. Uchiha Shinta tries to maintain style. I saw him glance at Tsunade, and then look at Konoha village with his hands behind his back. Yo-Yo's voice reached Tsunade's ears. So, what's the price? Cost. Tsunade stared blankly at Uchiha Shinta as if he was very puzzled. Uchiha Shinta still has his back to Tsunade. Yeah, I mean you said you can challenge me anytime, but I didn't say you can challenge me twice in a row. Ah ha ha, that's my mistake. Then Shinta-kun, how about I go shopping with you? After all, I am also the most beautiful 17-year-old girl in Konoha village. Tsunade was clearly prepared, so he skipped what he said just now after a ha-ha, and proposed a compensation method that 7 or 8-year-old boys are basically not interested in. Uchiha Shinta turned around, glanced at Tsunade from top to bottom, and shook his head while watching. Watch Tsunade's fists clenched. Just when Tsunade thought Uchiha Shinta would say no, he did speak, but it was not what Tsunade thought. Yes, but if you lose, I will treat you until I am satisfied. Good. If you lose the duel, I will treat you to me. Tsunade gritted his teeth and decided to embezzle a sum of money from next month's gambling money for the challenge. After all, she has full confidence in her secret weapon. Since it's my treat, let's set the venue for the duel in the Valley of the End. Usually no one goes there. Tsunade has made its own demands on the terrain. The Valley of the End is the Valley of the End, you can go ahead. Uchiha Shinta didn't care where to fight and gave up the move. Tsunade was also polite, jumped up and ran towards the Valley of the End. Uchiha Shinta followed closely behind, moving like a phantom in the forest, watching the golden single ponytail jumping in front of him. Valley of the End. The statues of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama have stood here since the first battle of the Valley of the End, washed by the waterfalls without interruption. Nearly a week ago, a phantom came from Konoha village, sitting on top of the statue of Uchiha Madara, feeling lonely with this sky. But on this day, the long-term peace was broken again. I saw a green figure jumping and approaching from the distant woods, and came to the valley in the blink of an eye. She looked around, and when she was about to jump onto the statue of Senju Hashirama, she suddenly spotted a figure opposite. Shinta-kun, aren't you behind me? It was Tsunade who came. She still remembers Uchiha Shinta who was still floating behind her just now and startled her when she turned around, but she didn't know that he suddenly appeared in front of her. She turned her head and looked back, only to find that another Uchiha Shinta was flying towards her directly behind, and landed on the opposite side in a blink of an eye. You are? Tsunade asks his question directly. Later, Uchiha Shinta glanced at the figure sitting cross-legged on the ground, and saw that Uchiha Shinta on the ground turned into white smoke with a bang sound. He was my avatar 2 days ago. I wanted to comprehend the artistic conception of the waves and waves, the dead-like flowing water, and see if I can comprehend the ninjutsu of time. It's a pity that I only feel inexplicable energy surrounding me, disturbing my mind. Tsunade rolled his eyes twice, ignoring Uchiha Shinta's flabbergasted words. Can our duel begin? Uchiha Shinta, who was interrupted while pretending narrating, shook his head with an indescribable expression of kuchiki. I saw him stand on tiptoe and float up, and he didn't speak until he was a head higher than Tsunade. Let's get started. Let the two ancestors witness your efforts, and then I will kill it. Tsunade is completely unaffected, and the hands are quickly sealed. Boom. After Tsunade formed the seal, a huge and evil chakra suddenly emerged from Tsunade. This is the chakra of 9 tails. Could it be that Uzumaki Mido sealed the 9 tails chakra on Tsunade? Shinta silently watched Tsunade continue to seal. He is indeed, as he said in the ninja school, very curious about Kyoka Suigetsu's flaws, so that he can make up for them in a targeted manner. In just a few seconds, Tsunade completed another seal. Summoning technique. Boom. A huge burst of white smoke scattered, covering the entire Valley of the End. The 9 tails chakra perceived by Uchiha was consumed when the summoning technique was activated, and even Tsunade's chakra dropped a lot. As the smoke cleared, a huge Katsuyu appeared in front of him. This Katsuyu is white and blue, with its head resting on the head of the Senju Hashirama statue, completely covering Senju Hashirama, and spreading its body into the river above the waterfall, blocking the river and stopping the waterfall. Looking from the side, I couldn't see where the tail was for a while. And Tsunade was right on top of Katsuyu's head. The strong wind from above made his clothes chilly, looking down at him majestically. Uchiha Shinta was stunned for a while, as if he saw Tsunade-ji, who was appointed as 5th Hokage in the anime, with a very similar demeanor. But he soon came back to his senses and realized the difference between the past and the present, one on the screen and one in reality. Uchiha Shinta's heart moved, and his figure continued to rise, and he came to a higher position than Tsunade again, listening to the conversation coming from the opposite side. Tsunade, is the opponent the kid on the other side? Yes, Master Katsuyu, don't underestimate him. I can't even fight back in front of him. Really, I will work hard. Okay, then start attacking. Acidic tongue and teeth. Under Tsunade's command, Katsuyu's attack kicked off the battle. Uchiha Shinta looked at the huge Katsuyu and felt proud. In my previous life, I couldn't experience this kind of scenery no matter what. Now that I have traveled here, I can't visit Wanshin, see everything, face off against the strongest enemy, witness the strongest will, and experience the feeling of the extraordinary peak. Wouldn't it be a waste of experience? Uchiha Shinta moves sideways to avoid acid. The chakra on his body was running extremely fast, overflowing to form a blue layer covering his whole body. Strange power, mode is on. Fighting big monsters requires physical skills. I saw Uchiha Shinta kicking his right leg back in the air, directly stepping on a sonic boom. Missing the continuous spraying of acid by Katsuyu, it came to the lower side of Katsuyu's body in lightning speed. Physical technique, strange power and chaos god. Uchiha Shinta surged with chakra all over his body, and for the first time under the boost of strange power technique, he hit with all his strength. Boom! The huge Katsuyu exploded continuously from the beginning to the end, and the sound of the explosion formed a long sound. In the process of the body scattered, Katsuyu's body was split into small ones. Katsuyu saved himself. And from the direction where Uchiha Shinta threw his fist, it has been completely punched into a vacuum, and there is nothing left. In the direction pointed by the fist wind, there is a cloud in the distant sky that was blown away by the fist wind. Tsunade, who was standing above Katsuyu's head before, was also thrown into the sky with Katsuyu's explosion, and was covered in blood. Uchiha Shinta withdrew his fists and once again lamented his strong talent, open hook. Then, Shinta used the body replacement technique to wait above the Tsunade, and reached out to catch the Uzi Tsunade flying by. Ignoring the eyes of the little Katsuyu flying around, he moved with Tsunade to a Katsuyu gathering place below the valley of the end. I saw a lot of small Katsuyu gathered and fused together to form a big Katsuyu tens of meters long. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Uchiha Shinta met Katsuyu's vigilant gaze and passed Tsuna Katsuyu's hand over. I don't know medical ninjutsu, Tsunade is up to you. Master Tsunade. Katsuyu swam over quickly and fell down like a mountain. Uchiha Shinta's face remained unchanged, watching Katsuyu's light green chakra covering Tsunade. It's okay, because I relieved some of the force from Master Tsunade in time, and that direction is not the main direction of attack, so Master Tsunade is only injured by the muscle, I can treat it. Katsuyu breathed a sigh of relief humanly. His attitude towards Shinta also softened. As Katsuyu chakra poured into Tsunade's body continuously, Tsunade's painful expression gradually eased. After about 10 minutes, Tsunade slowly opened his eyes. This is Uchiha Shinta. Hi, I'm here. Tsunade turned his head and saw Uchiha Shinta with his shoes on and stepping on the river to cool off. She slowly came back to her senses, and became extremely angry. The fight just now. You beat Katsuyu like this? Uchiha Shinta is amused. Could it be that Tsunade-ji's daily battles already require the opponent to make concessions? But Uchiha Shinta didn't speak because Katsuyu was already persuading her. Master Tsunade, please receive treatment in peace. Just now, Shinta-sama's attack was not out of line. Because I was also attacking with all my strength. Besides, after the battle just now, Lord Shinta held you and came to me for treatment as soon as possible. Tsunade keenly sensed something was wrong. Katsuyu, why do you call him an adult? Because Shinta-sama invited me to be his summoning beast just now, and although I would like to agree, it mainly depends on your opinion, Tsunade. Katsuyu recalled the scene just now. Uchiha Shinta looks at Katsuyu, who keeps healing Tsunade. Suddenly he asked, Katsuyu, do you want to be my summoning beast? Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark question mark question mark question mark quote. Shinta didn't care about Katsuyu's silence either, and continued. You have also seen that I can blow you apart with one punch at such a young age. When I grow up, I will definitely have the power to bring peace to the world. And my relationship with Tsunade is not bad, you see she is still alive and kicking after she has repeatedly provoked me. Do people in Uchiha invite people like this? Katsuyu made a soft sound. Oh, Katsuyu, have you also contacted people from Uchiha? I met you in a long time ago. Shinta, why do you want to make a contract with me? Because you are such a big summoning beast, it must be super handsome when you go out. And I want to learn fairy art, isn't your 3 major fairylands the most professional? Uchiha Shinta replied bluntly. That's right, but it's very dangerous to practice fairy arts. And about summoning, I need to ask Master Tsunade for her opinion. If she doesn't agree, there's nothing I can do. Nani, this guy wants to sign a summoning contract with you. Tsunade forgot about the injury and jumped up, and then was directly knocked down by the pain all over his body. Ah, pain, pain, pain. The Tsunade is silent. Master Tsunade, you are injured, don't move around. Katsuyu gently stopped Tsunade from twisting and continued to treat her. Katsuyu, how long are you going to treat? Uchiha Shinta asked after watching Katsuyu keep typing chakra to Tsunade, but nothing happened. Tsunade-sama suffered shock injuries all over his body. With my best efforts to recover, it will take about 10 days to heal. If Tsunade-sama can heal himself, 7 days will be enough. My medical ninjutsu is still inferior to Tsunade-sama. Katsuyu was a little frustrated while talking. It's so long. Tsunade, let's make a bet. What bet? Tsunade turned his head to look at Uchiha Shinta, who came to his side, watching him bring that handsome face in front of him. You taught me medical ninjutsu, and I'll cure you today, so you owe me 2 treats to go shopping, and agree to sign the summoning contract with Katsuyu. If not, then disappear this time. How about it? Tsunade couldn't help laughing. Ha ha ha, you want to heal my injury today with the temporary healing technique. It's a bet. Now I will tell you the order of healing and the operation of chakra. With Tsunade's narration finished, Uchiha Shinta watched as the skill added to the attribute panel. Healing Technique LV1 1/100th. You have initially learned the healing technique. You can heal wounds, but you can only heal knife cuts. Evaluation. Rookie. 3 hours later, a bewildered Tsunade is at the entrance of Konoha village, and next to her is Uchiha Shinta, who is watching her expression with great interest. Tsunade only feels that after Shinta uses healing, each treatment is better than the last. His healing skills are also getting stronger. Then, out of nowhere, I was healed by Shinta. Contract qualification and 2 shopping treats are also lost to Uchiha Shinta. Of course, Tsunade, who is used to losing usually, has actually recovered a long time ago, but in order to try to avoid this treat and keep his gambling money, Tsunade tried to pretend to be crazy. Uchiha Shinta looked at the joy. Of course he would not remind her to show her secrets, he could see his progress intuitively from the panel. Healing Technique LV13 26/100ths. Your healing technique has surpassed the pinnacle of the ninja world. You can easily heal other people's wounds, as long as it is a disease that can be cured with chakra, you can cure it. Evaluation. Be a life-saving angel. As he was about to enter Konoha village, Tsunade still pulled himself from time to time. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Shinta twitched the corner of his mouth and controlled his smile. He said to her, Tsunade, get ready to go shopping. Chapter 31. Konoha Village Commercial Street. On this day, a strange scene appeared on the street, which attracted the attention of passers-by. I saw a handsome Uchiha young boy swaggering in front of him. He walked into the store or stopped at the booth with empty hands from time to time. Occasionally, I found a product I liked, and with a wave of my hand, a girl in green clothes walked up behind me, paying with a face of reluctance. These 2 people don't look like young masters and maids in their dress and behavior habits, but they are indeed acting like this, which makes people talk a lot. Especially some ninjas who came to the street to shop in their leisure time were even more stunned. Although the Uchiha in front wearing a fan suit is unclear, but the girl in green clothes Tsunade who pays in the back. If there are 30,000 ninjas in Konoha village, then at least 25,000 ninjas know her. After all, she is the granddaughter of the first generation, the second generation, the apprentice of the third generation, and the recognized princess of the Land of Fire. But what is the situation now? The dignified Konoha princess Tsunade Heim follows a Uchiha to pay him. Could it be that the sun came out from the west? Many familiar ninjas from the Sarutobi family, Yamanaka family, and Nara family greeted Tsunade secretly with their eyes and ninja codes, trying to ask her what happened. But she stared back angrily, and replied them with a password saying don't worry about it. Fine. The ninja passing by also felt helpless at Tsunade's refusal. Some of them followed behind, some of them went to Senju's house to inquire about the situation, and some of them ran to Hyuga's ninja immediately with suspicion, wanting to see if Tsunade was controlled by the illusion. Tsunade doesn't have time for that. She followed behind Uchiha Shinta, paid without stopping, then walked over to seal the purchased item into the sealing scroll. But soon, the sealing scroll she carried was full, and she had to hang the goods on her body, and the things on her body gradually piled up. And Tsunade's gambling money for next month was also used beyond her budget, and the whole wallet gradually bottomed out. And Uchiha Shinta ahead. Boss, how is the quality of this cat face mask? It looks like the material and painting are pretty good. That's right. This is the high-quality snow mountain wood from the Iron Country, and it's definitely worth the money if it's paired with a master-level painter. Buy it. Uchiha Shinta waved his hand and called Tsunade to come forward to pay the bill. Quote. And many more. Seeing that Uchiha Shinta was about to turn around and go to the next store, Tsunade hurriedly called him to stop. How much more do you want to buy? A lot of masks, toys, kunai, detonating charms, weight bags. Are you going to buy everything for a lifetime? I can't let myself go here. Uchiha Shinta turned his head, and what he met was a whirlwind of complaints. Then before he could speak, Suna immediately raised the 5 or 6 bags hanging on his hands, and looked at Shinta pitifully. Look, I'm already full, why don't we just stop here today and come back next time? Ha ha, Uchiha Shinta sneered twice. So you're sure it's not because you don't have enough money? After all, I'm not inconsiderate. If so, you only need to say one word, and this is the end of today. But if you just think there are too many things, there is no need. We can ask someone to send them back. After all, it was someone who said in the morning that I want to treat guests until I am satisfied. You say yes. Uchiha returning to the body in the same way careful eyes Shinta reminded Tsunade that he used the words in school to run on him in the morning. Hash. The blue veins on Tsunade's forehead popped up. The thought of bowing to Shinta disappeared immediately. Now she doesn't worry about the purse anymore, she just wants to win. She made a secret sign, and a chunin from Senju's family came behind her. It was the ninja who had reported to Senju's house just now, and was noticed by Tsunade. Give her all the purchased items on her body. You send everything home first. Tell grandma and I'll make it clear to her when I go back. Then turned to Uchiha with a real voice. Today, I will let you open your eyes and see clearly. I, Tsunade-ji, will never worry about money in my life. Follow me. Uchiha Shinta was curious in his heart, coupled with the boldness of Yigao. He was not afraid of Tsunade's tricks, so he followed directly. Tsunade led him to turn left and right, and soon came to a deserted alley. Tsunade took the lead in closing the seal. Transformation technique. Boom. A puff of white smoke dispersed, and Tsunade directly turned into a middle-aged ronin. With a knife in his hand and a scarf on his forehead, he exudes a sense of decadence. Quick, use the transformation technique to change the image. Tsunade urged with a hoarse voice. Uchiha Shinta, who became more and more curious, transformed into a fat and rich businessman according to Tsunade's request. Then, the transformed Tsunade brought Shinta directly to Konoha Casino. Looking at the gate of the casino from a distance, Tsunade took out a note of 101,000 taels, gave Uchiha Shinta 100,000 taels, and took 1,000 taels for himself. Then he kept whispering to Shinta. After you go in, you can press whatever I press. If I make it big, you make it small, and if I make it small, you make it big. Remember not to press the wrong one. Also change your image immediately after hitting a hit, Don't be discovered by the casino. All the money you win today is for your treat. Have you heard clearly? Quote. Uchiha Shinta didn't hear what was behind her, but just stared at Tsunade's mouth opening and closing in a daze. At this moment, Tsunade has completely broken the lower limit. The image of Tsunade at this moment in Uchiha Shinta's mind is brilliant. Uchiha Shinta was in a daze when he walked out of Konoha Casino with a huge bag in his hand. The spirit looks completely inferior to the arrogant Tsunade who turned back to the original. Although he had prepared himself before going in, the scene he experienced just now made him a little unbelievable. After walking into the casino, Shinta found that Tsunade and her transformed clothes were inconspicuous in the casino. As expected of Tsunade's well-chosen outfit, the two first came to the entrance to exchange chips. Then, Tsunade took Uchiha Shinta to a dice-guessing venue where they were betting. The rules of the game are clearly written on the dice table. Guests bet first, and there are 6 options: odd number, even number, big odd number, small odd number, big even number, and small even number. After the betting is completed, the game is closed, and the croupier shakes 3 dice at the same time and announces the result. Guess, odd number, even number, 1 pay 1, guess, odd number large, odd number small, even number large, even number small, 1 pay 2. The number here refers to the sum of the 3 dice. More than 10 points are large, and less than 9 points are small. Tsunade glanced around, and regardless of what other people bet on, he directly threw 100 taels on the odd number. After winking at the rich businessman, Uchiha Shinta, he shouted loudly at the croupier, "Give me the game. I'm sure I can win this hand." The image of a bad gambler comes to life. There is a high probability that he will act in his true colors. Uchiha Shinta followed closely behind, betting all 100,000 taels on even numbers. The odd number and even number bets on the table were roughly even before, and the rich businessman, Shinta's bet of 100,000 taels made the even number bet more than 3 times that of the odd number. After the surrounding gamblers saw it, many people bet on the odd number. This situation did not stop until the chip ratio was close to 1/2. Obviously the croupier had a strong ability to roll dice before, so many gamblers can only rely on guessing psychology to bet. However, Tsunade's complexion remained unchanged. As if he didn't see the raising scene, he kept urging the dealer to open GU. "Hurry up and start. This time I will definitely get my money back." The croupier looked around, saw that no one was placing any more bets, and shouted, "Closed." Immediately afterwards, he picked up the dice GU and danced quickly with the dice. Uchiha Shinta talent is online. With a thought, he entered the body replacement technique perception state, trying to perceive the mechanism of Tsunade's talent bad luck but found nothing. It seems that the level of body replacement technique has to be improved. Single quote. Shinta thought to himself. However, what was lost was Senju, and although he couldn't feel Tsunade's bad luck, Shinta could clearly see the inner dice of the dice GU in the croupier's hand. As if right in front of your eyes, the 3 dice are spinning non-stop, colliding with the GU wall. Soon, it's time to roll the dice. Hearing a bang, the croupier knocked the dice GU on the table. In Shinta's consciousness, the 3 dice points are clearly there. It is divided into 3 numbers of 3, 6, and 5, which happen to be even numbers. Open, open, open. Other gamblers have already started shouting, trying to use voice control to change the result of the dice. The croupier waited for the atmosphere to become more intense, and then violently opened the dice GU. 3, 6, 5. Same result as what Shinta saw just now. However, Uchiha Shinta's keen perception suddenly noticed that the dealer's color changed slightly. Apparently the result was inconsistent with the points he wanted to shake. But he didn't know why it was big even number. Obviously when I roll the dice, I feel that there is still an odd number in it. The croupier subconsciously prepares for the next game, and monitors his skills. And Uchiha Shinta, who made 100,000 taels in a short time, has followed Tsunade to leave the guess the dice area. Under the leadership of Tsunade, Uchiha Shinta keeps changing his figure. Has experienced many hours of gambling games such as Big Turntable, Slot Machine, Pai Gao and so on. No matter how strong the croupier is or how much chips Shinta bets on in every game, Tsunade will always end up losing for no reason. And when Tsunade ran out of 1,000 taels of chips, Shinta had nearly 2 million taels of chips in his hands. To know, the inheritance that Uchiha Shinta's parents bequeathed to him was only a few 100,000 taels. Uchiha Shinta and Tsunade, who were holding a pile of chips, changed back to their original form and came to the entrance to exchange cash. A big bag was exchanged directly. Shinta, who was carrying nearly 2 million cash, looked at Tsunade and suddenly lost interest in shopping. He looked up. The state of body replacement technique that was still maintained made him keenly sense that not far away, a woman from the Hyuga family opened her eyes and glanced at Tsunade's head, and then reported to Anbu Jonin with a fox face next to her. Fox face Anbu Jonin nodded, and used the body flicker technique to rush towards the entrance of the casino at top speed. Shinta was about to say goodbye to Tsunade, and that Anbu had arrived. Tsunade Haim. And this Uchiha boy. Please go slowly. Master Uzumaki Mido, please go there together. The entrance of Konoha Casino. After Anbu Jonin who sent the message left, Uchiha Shinta and Tsunade looked at each other, and they both spoke at the same time. You're my grandma. Quote. After a little silence, the two spoke in unison again. Tell me first. Quote. Then let me say first. Quote. Puff. Tsunade couldn't help laughing out loud, and Uchiha Shinta couldn't help smiling too. The serious atmosphere of the confrontation from the morning suddenly eased. Both of them didn't want to speak at the same time again, and they smiled at each other. Tsunade pointed at Uchiha Shinta with his index finger, beckoning him to speak first. Shinta was also polite and asked questions directly. Do you know what your grandma wants me to do? Tsunade shook his head. Before today, I haven't said anything about you to grandma. I just conveyed your words to Nawaki at home. If you want to say anything, it can only be today. Tsunade couldn't help frowning when he thought of everything he did in a fit of anger today. After all, what happened today is too much noise. I saw at least a dozen or so familiar ninjas on the street. It's inevitable that they wouldn't report to grandma. I don't know what grandma will say about me now. Ha ha. Seeing Tsunade's troubled look, Uchiha Shinta suddenly laughed. Since the old lady wants to see me, I'll go and see. After all, I am Uchiha Shinta who is fearless. And you are Tsunade princess who is not even afraid of me. Meeting your grandma is no big deal. Why bother here? He turned around and walked towards Senju's house. He didn't hear footsteps after 3 or 2 steps, and then raised his hand with his back to Tsunade. Hurry up, Tsunade Haim. It's up to you to lead the way. Coming. Tsunade, who was called out to the rear, responded loudly. After taking a few quick steps to catch up with Uchiha Shinta, Tsunade glanced at him and muttered to himself. Is this a question of whether you are afraid or not? The key is grandma's nagging. And... Konoha Village. Senju family compound. When Uzumaki Mido is still alive, this is still the place with the highest status in Konoha. Uzumaki Mido is the wife of first Hokage Senju Hashirama and has a very high political status. At the same time, as an experienced ninja from the Sengoku period, she is also a 9-tails Jinchuriki with the highest combat power in Konoha Village. Whether it is the current 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, or several other Hokage assistants Shimura Danzo, Mitokado Homura, Udatane Kaharu, they all respect her. As Uchiha Shinta gradually approached Senju's mansion, he felt more and more intense attention. When those dark eyes see Tsunade, they look away again. But every once in a while, someone still looks over again. They are Anbu sent by the teacher to keep grandma safe. I can feel them every time I go home, just ignore them. Spotting Uchiha Shinta's eyes falling in the woods from time to time, Tsunade, who led the way, turned his head to him and explained. Uchiha Shinta nodded. It seems that the village attaches great importance to the safety of the old lady. Well, because of grandpa, and grandma is getting old, so the teacher is very concerned about grandma's safety. Quote. The two walked forward while chatting casually, and soon came to the door of Tsunade's house. It's here, come in directly. The doors here are usually not locked during the day. As the host, Tsunade directly pushed the door and brought Shinta in. Bypassing the screen wall is a large yard. Some evergreen landscape flowers are planted on both sides, and some seasonal flowers are in full bloom. Facing the screen wall is the lobby, which is used as a place to receive important guests. Uchiha Shinta, as a privately invited guest this time, certainly doesn't need such a serious place. Tsunade led him back skillfully, and servants greeted Tsunade from time to time on the road. "Hi, miss." Turning left and right, the two came to a yard full of flowers in the back. Uzumaki Mido was leisurely lying on a chair basking in the sun, while Naoki was sitting on a stool beside him happily eating snacks. Hearing footsteps, Uzumaki Mido opened his eyes, just in time to watch Tsunade and Uchiha Shinta enter one after another. Uzumaki Mido, who is almost 60 years old, does not look old on her face. The 100 healings mark between her brows keeps her elegant and quiet, and the traces of time make her wiser. She nodded to Uchiha Shinta and Tsunade and was about to speak. At this time, Naoki, who was eating snacks, was the first to say hello. "Sister, you are back. Come and eat grilled fish fillets. Grandma's cooking is very delicious." "Hey, Shinta, why are you here too? Grandma was still asking about you just now." Naoki waved at Uchiha Shinta, then turned to look at Uzumaki Mido. "Grandma, did you call Shinta over here?" "Yeah, I invited Shinta-kun over here." Uzumaki Mido responded to Naoki's question with a smile, and stood up with his right hand on the chair. She walked up to Shinta gracefully, smiled and said to him, "Hello Shinta-kun. I'm really sorry to invite you here so abruptly today. I just want to express my gratitude to you, thank you for being friends with my two useless grandchildren." Uchiha Shinta looked at Tsunade hesitantly, and Tsunade nodded reluctantly, and introduced to Shinta, "This is my grandma, you can call her Mido-sama." Shinta's eyes suddenly changed. Tsunade felt that the look in his eyes turned from hesitation to disgust in an instant. After all, when the girl Tsunade and the youth appearance Uzumaki Mido are together now, one is a goddess and the other is a female nerve. "What kind of eyes do you have?" Tsunade immediately shouted at Shinta. "That's why she doesn't bring other people to see grandma very much." Uzumaki Mido watched the communication between Tsunade and Shinta with a smile, and said to them. "Then Tsunade and Naoki treat Shinta-kun well, I'll cook, and Shinta-kun stays at noon." "Okay, I'll treat Shinta well. Come on, Shinta, eat the fish fillets fried by grandma." Naoki immediately responded loudly, "Cut, who wants to entertain him?" Gangyazi must retaliate, Sho muttered softly beside him, regardless of what the two of them were doing. After all, Shinta's eyes just now destroyed all the good atmosphere on the road. Senju's dinner table. Naoki, who had eaten snacks all morning, was working hard to cook, while Uchiha Shinta and Tsunade were playing a game of eye-catching, fighting for every inch of the dining table. Uzumaki Mido served the three of them gently. "Shinta-kun, you should eat more. After all, you are 30 centimeters short of Tsunade. Tsunade, eat more too, you're too skinny. And Naoki, eat more food when you grow up. Grandma, I'm not a child anymore. You can give more to the children next to you." Tsunade was terrified of the huge pile of delicacies in the bowl, and tried to transmit the pressure to the two fellow Taoists beside him. Uzumaki Mido chuckled. "No matter how old you are still children in grandma's heart. So grandma is often worried that you will not take good care of yourself, especially when Tsunade is on a mission. Have you eaten well and slept well? It's only now that I can show you grandma's concern, but will little Tsunade refuse even this?" Feeling his scalp tingle from Uzumaki Mido's gentle gaze, Tsunade had to pick up the bowl again. "Okay, I'll just eat it." "That's good. Eat as much as you can. Shinta-kun too." "You're welcome." Since they made friends with Shinta-kun, they've all become a lot more cheerful. Uzumaki Mido was still picking up food, but the gentle voice caused ripples in the hearts of the three of Shinta. "Grandma, I just want you to be happy in the future, don't be unhappy." "Grandma, I got it." The old man's chatter is probably as endless as his concern for the younger generation. Uchiha Shinta may have no resistance to the care of these elders because he remembered the tenderness of his previous life. However, after the meal was over, both Tsunade and Naoki breathed a sigh of relief. "Grandma, let's take Shinta to the room to play." Naoki yelled and hurried back to Tsunade's yard with Shinta. Grandma usually nags us like this, that's why I was so troubled in the morning. Tsunade took out a deck of cards from behind the table and gestured to Shinta. Want to come to play? The three of us can just start. Of course Shinta will not let up. After all, on the road guided by bright lights, the road ahead is smooth. Come here, lost stickers. It is good. Naoki, come on. To 3. Sorry. Quote. Senju's mansion. After plastering Tsunade all over with little notes, Uchiha Shinta refuses to fight after dinner. He said goodbye to Uzumaki Mido and went straight home. Although it's interesting to repeat abuse of dishes. But judging from Uzumaki Mido's reaction, Shinta can deduce that someone is waiting for him again tonight. As predicted, when Uchiha Shinta was about to get home, he found the ninja in black standing at his door again. Uchiha Shinta, this time, the clan elder invites you to go there again. Is that okay? The tone of the black-clothed ninja was a little more humane than the last time he was businesslike. Uchiha Shinta, who was originally fine, would not delay on purpose. He simply said, "No, let's go." The black-clothed ninja nodded, turned and walked towards the center of the Uchiha tribe, and Uchiha Shinta followed behind as before. After the two walked about dozens of steps, the ninja in black intentionally slowed down, waiting for Shinta to catch up. Sensing the intention of the black ninja, Uchiha Shinta walked to the side by side with the black ninja, and looked at him suspiciously. Quote. Let me introduce myself. My name is Uchiha-zan, I opened Sharingan, I am currently Chunin, and now I am taking orders from the clan elders. The calm self-report of the ninja in black gave Shinta the idea of listening. However, the tone of his mouth was an old, leftist. You did a great job today, Shinta. Those in Senju's family should be taught a lesson. After a slight pause, he told the reason. I have a friend. He's also from Uchiha. Uchiha Shinta's ears perked up, ready to listen to this I have a friend series of stories. When he was in the ninja school, he was bullied by the children headed by the Senju family because he was too good, and he often won by sneak attacking him in the training class. After graduation, he was deliberately put together with two weak classmates who could only hold back. After the easy genin initial phase, his squad started to take on the tougher missions. My friend Uchiha, he is the one who takes the lead in every mission, and despite the constant injuries, he takes on the most important and hardest part of the mission. So the early missions are barely done. But you also know that the world of ninjas is the law of the jungle. So once, because of an intelligence error, there were two more enemies in the mission. Uchiha-zan opened the Sharingan excitedly, and two tomo appeared in the eyes of the left and right, and kept turning. Although he tried his best to intercept, an enemy still attacked his two weak teammates. Quote. After the death of two weak teammates, because he was angry that he was not strong enough, he opened a hook jade Sharingan, killed all the enemies on the spot, and completed the task. Uchiha Gen's tone paused slightly. After returning to the village, he reported the mission process according to the facts. However, the ignorant ninja headed by the Senju family claimed that he deliberately killed his teammates in order to open the Sharingan. Quote, he was so angry that he found a ninja from the Shimura family who was spreading rumors and had a fight, and both of them were locked up. Afterwards, my friend from Uchiha didn't join the three-person team to participate in the mission. Uchiha Shinta glanced at Uchiha Shinta after he finished telling his friend story. I hope you can suppress the Senju family like today. Let them understand that the Baiyu Zebo clan is the strongest. After listening to the story of the black ninja Zan, Uchiha Shinta suddenly had a question. Zan, is it okay to call you that? Uchiha Gen nodded. After listening to your friend's story, Uchiha Gen opened the Sharingan and closed it again. There doesn't seem to be a story about the Senju family bullying, right? Why do you keep targeting the Senju family? Why not? Didn't the Senju family in the ninja school steal my friend's first place by sneak attack? Uchiha Zan looked a little excited, and shouted sharply, obviously holding a grudge. The task assigners and those who spread rumors are all attached to the Senju family. How can we, Uchiha, lower ourselves to trouble them? Uchiha Shinta understands. The current Uchiha is immersed in the pride of opening up Shinobi Village. Think only Senju is worthy to be your opponent. Uchiha Zan's performance tonight is just an ordinary Uchiha's normal reaction after hearing that a tribe can suppress the old enemy Senju clan. So when he saw the courtyard wall of the clan's hometown, he immediately began to end the topic tactfully. Hey, how can the Senju clan be my opponent? Hey, Zan, the clan's hometown is here. Let's talk next time. I'll go first. Uchiha clan land. The hometown of the Uchiha tribe, outside the gate. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. Uchiha Shinta knocked on the wooden door. Squeak. It was the same middle-aged concierge from last time. He opened the door halfway, poked his head out to see who was knocking on the door. It's Master Shinta and Zan. Master has been waiting for you for a long time. As he spoke, he opened the door sideways. Come in quickly. Master, he is still in the study from last time. After Uchiha Zan and Shinta greeted him, they walked to the study along the same path as last time. It had been more than half a month since I came here, and under the dim light of the corridor, the environment in the yard looked more and more gloomy, as if there were inexplicable beasts lurking. Uchiha Shinta followed in the footsteps of Uchiha Zan, walked quickly in the corridor, and came to the courtyard again. It was still Uchiha who knocked on the door. Clan elder, Uchiha Shinta brought. Faint voices could be heard in the study. Takuya, you go out and call, in. Squeak. The door was opened directly, and Uchiha, an airplane head in his 30s, came out. He looked at Uchiha Shinta and Uchiha Zan, and said to them, Mr. Shinta, please go in now. Zan and I will go out together. The clan elders have a task to complete together. Uchiha Zan nodded yes. Hi, Takuya-kun. Then he raised his right hand to Uchiha Shinta in a cheering gesture. After receiving Shinta's nod in response, he immediately turned around and caught up with Uchiha Takuya to carry out the mission. Uchiha Shinta pushed the door directly and entered. As soon as he entered, he saw the Uchiha clan elder standing in front of a ninja map. Clan elder, what do you want me to do? The Uchiha elder rubbed his sore eyes after watching for a long time, turned his head to say hello to Uchiha Shinta, sat back on the chair, and reached out to make a pot of tea for himself and Uchiha. Shinta-kun, long time no see. Today you and Tsunade caused a lot of trouble. My old man has heard about it at home. You use Tsunade Heim like a maid, and you're embarrassing Uchiha. The Uchiha family can have such an outstanding junior like you, it's really a blessing to me. The calm tone of the Uchiha elder revealed his joy, as if he hadn't been this happy for a long time. I'll send someone to look for you tonight. The first is to see if the Senju family has illegally detained you. The second is to ask if you are injured and if you need help from the clan. The elder of the Uchiha tribe observed Shinta's expression, and heaved a sigh of relief. It seems that Senju's family spirit is still good. You don't seem to be injured or wronged. Uchiha Shinta nodded. Thanks to the elders for their concern, but I really don't have any problems. The Uchiha clan elder refilled the teacup in front of him, and chatted with Uchiha Shinta about other topics. Shinta, do you know the origin of Konoha village? I probably understand. Under the leadership of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, the Uchiha and Senju tribes united a lot of other ninja tribes to create the current Konoha village. But I don't know exactly how to create it. Uchiha Shinta showed a listening expression, ready to listen to the original story from Sengoku old man in front of him. The Uchiha elder took a sip of tea, sighed and opened his mouth. That's it. It seems that fewer and fewer people know what happened back then. About 32 years ago, Uchiha Madara, the patriarch of our previous generation, used the power of everything to fight against Senju Hashirama of the Senju family, that is, first Hokage, in the Valley of the End. Their attacks cut off the canyon and collapsed the mountains, and the attacks during the battle directly led to the formation of the Valley of the End. This time, our patriarch Uchiha Madara lost to first Hokage. However, Senju Hashirama, the victorious first generation, was not proud, but bowed his head again and submitted an alliance application to Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara was moved by the sincerity of the first generation's purpose, and the Uchiha and Senju clans have since formed an alliance to jointly launch an alliance against other ninja clans in the Land of Fire. Under the joint actions of first generation and Uchiha Madara, Sarutobi, Shimura, Nara, Yamanaka, Akamiki, Inuzuka, Hyuga, Kurama, Hitaki, Yuhi and other ninjas joined Konoha one after another. Finally, 29 years ago, Konoha village was born. Talking about the past experience, the Uchiha clan elder seemed to be obsessed with the years of conquests in his memory. His momentum burst out, and the sound of insects in the oppressive yard disappeared instantly. After reacting, he put away his momentum and shook his head. Yeah, it's been 29 years since Konoha village was founded. Over the years, I've watched the Uchiha clan become less and less influential in the village. From the very beginning, our family was able to compete for Hokage with the first generation project, and later it became a competition for Hokage disciples. Up to now, we don't even have a Hokage assistant. The eyes of the elders transformed into 3 Tomo Sharingan in one go. The mirror-like geniuses who have appeared in the clan before all died young due to various reasons. 9 out of 10 of the ninjas who carry the main beam in the clan are old people who came from the Sengoku period. The 8 generations who are twice as young have strong management skills, but they are obviously not strong enough. Uchiha must at least have cage-level combat power. Hey, we can carry it now, but what if we all die in 10 or 20 years' time? At that time, Uchiha Shinta. Can you carry the banner of Uchiha? The clan elder opened 3 Tomo Sharingan and stared at Uchiha Shinta seriously, releasing a strong sense of oppression. Ahem, actually, I can do it now. Uchiha Shinta didn't realize it, coughed twice, and vaguely stated the fact that Uchiha is all weak. The old Uchiha clan stared with a serious face, and asked the question again. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. The Uchiha family is different from the Nara family. They rely on wisdom to survive, while we rely on force. So, Shinta, are you really ready? Uchiha Shinta stretched out his hand, and in the palm of his hand, a blue fireball with changing fire attributes flew up, spinning non-stop. Then, clan elder, do you want to see my technique? In the old study room of the Uchiha tribe, the blue fireball constantly spinning in Shinta's hand renders everything around, reflecting Uchiha Shinta's smiling face is glowing blue, matching the quiet night outside. It seems like a big monster is coming to the world. Feeling the danger coming from this blue fireball, the Uchiha elder couldn't help swallowing. This feeling is comparable to when I faced Senju Hashirama's wood-style true several thousand hands on the battlefield more than 20 years ago. Under the influence of the fireball, the temperature in the room began to rise steadily and slowly, and the Uchiha elders were roasted a little parched. Shinta, are you fire style? There are no traces of seals at all. Could it be Muji ninjutsu? Judging from this sense of threat, it is already an S-rank ninjutsu. And I haven't heard any information about this technique before. There was anticipation in the clan elder's tone. Uchiha Shinta handed the blue fireball towards the elder. Good, this is my own, fire-style small fireball technique. In order to let the elders of the Uchiha tribe fully understand their own strength, so that they are willing to give themselves enough ninjutsu support, Uchiha Shinta reluctantly resorted to the means of raising funds to show his talent. Since I learned the fire-style dragon fire technique, I have practiced it many times, and it took me 7 days to release it without printing. But I found that even Muji is not enough to increase the power. So I disassembled the dragon fire technique, and focused on increasing the core temperature of the flame power. I specifically checked, nature transformation is the key to attribute ninjutsu. So after 7 days of hard practice, I successfully turned the fire attribute chakra nature transformation into blue. It really has increased power. In order not to let Uchiha ordinary mortal clan elder on the opposite side doubt his life, Uchiha Versailles Shinta specially weakened his talent. Confusing cause and effect, I said that the fire attribute chakra nature transformation that I improved by practicing fire-style dragon fire technique was the result of practicing fire attribute chakra nature transformation alone. Although the Uchiha clan elders, "You liar," expression seemed to make Shinta's kindness go to waste, he decided to emphasize it again. 2 days ago, I was practicing in a lake near Konoha village, and the suspended fire dragon evaporated half of the lake water. So, in order to avoid too heavy shots in daily practice, I specially created this fireball series of ninjutsu. Seeing the disbelief of the elders, Shinta decided to show off his 5-fold talent. With a wave of his free left hand, 4 blue fireballs appeared in the air again, in a row with the previous one. Look, from small fireball to 5 small fireball. There are also medium fireball, great fireball, etc. that will enhance the power of ninjutsu in the future. The power has doubled. The Uchiha clan elder was a little bit dizzy from being stimulated by the 4 fireballs in front of him, and subconsciously reminded the loopholes in Shinta's words. Aren't you all fireballs? Have you considered it before the battle? Ninjutsu is not a simple accumulation of numbers. You must have enough speed and power to hit the enemy. Your technique seems powerful enough, but what about the speed? What if the enemy hides? You must know that the great fireball technique is notoriously slow. For example, the ninja speed of the Kingdom of Thunder can even make 3 Tomo Sharingan unable to react. How will you deal with the enemy at that time? You can't support Uchiha's strongest if you rely solely on fireball. Uchiha Shinta reached out and pulled the 5 blue fireballs back in front of him, and chakra moved towards the elder Uchiha with a sense of oppression. Hehe, is Uchiha the strongest? I should be right now. My methods of dealing with the enemy are as complicated as stars. I can destroy all the ninjas I have seen so far. Fireball is just a salute I created on a whim for celebration. Uchiha Shinta put away Chakra's sense of oppression, and launched a multi-directional attack on the Uchiha clan elders. Look, Uchiha Shinta raised his hand upwards, and the 5 fireballs formed in a line on his palm, circled and flew into the sky. The wooden roof passing by was directly vaporized into a large circle, and the cold moonlight shone through the clouds. The Uchiha elder looked up and watched the 5 fireballs separate and rise higher and higher, gradually turning into 5 blue dots in the sky above Konoha, and gradually even the 3 Tomo Sharingan could hardly be seen. Then the 5 insignificant blue dots suddenly swelled and changed color, and then, bang, exploded, and the bright firelight illuminated the entire Konoha brightly. The way the fire shines is so beautiful. So, clan elder, what do you think of my strength? Uchiha Shinta raised his right fingertips in front of the elders, and a blue fireball spun again and became bigger and bigger. Such talent, simply stronger than Uchiha Madara. The Uchiha clan elder stared blankly at the blue fireball that had swelled to be bigger than a human head, and was circling Uchiha Shinta obediently. If Shinta leads, mere Senju. The elders of the Uchiha tribe began to imagine the future. And the location of Hokage. Cloud Shinobi Village, Iwagakure. When the air in the house began to distort and fluctuate under the influence of the escaping high temperature, and the paper on the table was also baked and dried, the elders of the Uchiha clan had already thought in their minds that the Uchiha clan would become Hokage, control Konoha, and destroy the 4 great. The picture of Ninja Village is gone. Ha 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 ha. Awakened by the high temperature, he finally couldn't help laughing wildly. I see a bright future for the Uchiha clan. Ha 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 ha. Quote. Uchiha Shinta calmly watched the clan elders show the traditional Uchiha family's facial expressions, with an expression of, I'm well informed and I won't be surprised, and casually extinguished the blue fireball in his hand that was about to cause a fire. After losing the heat source, the temperature in the house began to drop, and the Uchiha elders gradually recovered. What is your strength now? The ninjutsu just now can be used as a mystery. You also need some ninjutsu with low consumption for attack and defense. These Uchiha clans have it all. Tomorrow, I will deploy 3 elite jonins to guide you in learning ninjutsu, physical jutsu, and illusion. This old man barely has the strength comparable to Shadow, which is enough to guide you to grow up. I will notify the clan about the ninja school and ask for leave. The most important thing for you now is to become stronger. There are some Sharingan donated by the Uchiha tribe before their death. Tomorrow, I will seal an Izanagi technique on you with a transfer seal to ensure your safety. The Uchiha elder stopped laughing as sanity returned to his head. However, having witnessed Uchiha Shinta's talent, he still fanatically began to plan immediately, wanting to train Uchiha Shinta into a hexagonal ninja, and fulfill the ideal of revitalizing Uchiha that he has pursued for half his life. Uchiha Shinta sighed speechlessly. It seems that the clan elder didn't believe what he said just now. Is it because I have dealt with Uchiha a lot, and as a clan elder, I have been able to habitually filter out all high-profile words and keep them out of my mind? My strength should be quite strong. After all, from the current point of view, no one I meet is my one-shot enemy. As for attack and defense, I generally don't use fireball. Uchiha Shinta reiterates again. His hands were full of chakra. He bent his fingers and pointed at the big tree outside the window, and popped out a finger wind. Boom. A bang. There was only one stump left in the whole big tree, and the crown and trunk were all blown up and scattered in the yard. Clan Elder, do you want to try fighting against me tomorrow? Maybe it can give me a glimpse of the style of ninjas in the Sengoku period. Uchiha Shinta thought he still lacked some eloquence, so he decided to persuade physically. Swoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Before the words fell, 3 ninjas of the Uchiha clan jumped in from outside, and drove the Sharingan to be vigilant as soon as they came in. Clan Elder, are there any enemies? The leading Chinese character asked. The Uchiha elder shook his head and gestured to him. It's okay. I was practicing ninjutsu just now, you guys go back. Hi. The 3 Uchiha ninjas use the body flicker technique again and disappear into the yard. At this time, the Uchiha clan elder just looked at Uchiha Shinta. Is this physical art? That's right. I have gone through a lot of hardships and racked my brains to learn how to use the strange power technique, and the power is still possible. Quote. The Uchiha clan elder suddenly didn't want to talk anymore. He just wanted to be quiet now, and he didn't want others to ask who Jing Jing was. You have practiced such taijutsu and ninjutsu for 2 weeks. Is it true to say, it's hard work and racking your brains? How do I hear that you often go shopping with little girls leisurely? Uchiha Shinta seems to have no use for his lifetime of experience. Like Uchiha Madara, a monster whose talent easily surpassed my life's efforts. Single quote. In retrospect, I feel that I will be easily crushed now compared to Madara more than 20 years ago. Single quote. Is this a genius? Single quote. The elder of the Uchiha tribe breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that the excitement he received tonight was comparable to many years ago, when he suddenly heard the news that Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama had ended the war in the valley. He stood up and said to Uchiha Shinta, "The surprise you brought me to the old man today is really too great. I can't get over it at all. And your technique, as you said, go to the Uchiha training ground together tomorrow, and let me personally test how far you are. Go back today, be careful on the road." Uchiha Shinta saw that he had received the task from the NPC today and could not pay the reward in advance, so he stood up and said goodbye. Okay, then I'll come back tomorrow to let the clan elders see my offensive and defensive ninjutsu. When he walked into the yard, he suddenly remembered something, and suddenly turned his head to look at the elder Uchiha standing at the door. Correct. Ninja school doesn't need to ask me for leave, I still have to go to school. After all, I still want to take advantage of these years to take some rest. Before leaving, the idea of fishing was undoubtedly revealed. Konoha Village, Ninja School, early the next morning. After breakfast, Uchiha Shinta walked into the classroom leisurely, humming a song. He looked around and found that there were still only Hyuga brothers, Naoki, and Aburame Shido in there, and suddenly he felt like going to school came back. The students who come early always come early, and the faces they see in the class after school are the same. Shinta, good morning. Seeing Shinta coming in, Naoki, who was doing nothing, immediately greeted him loudly. Naoki, good morning. Uchiha Shinta responded, nodded to the other students in the classroom, followed Naoki's gesture and walked to the seat next to him and sat down. What's wrong? What's the matter? It's okay. It's just that after you left yesterday, my sister kept saying that you are not loyal enough this time, and you will leave if you win. She said that she must hold you to continue playing next time. Uchiha Shinta laughed. I haven't lost a day, okay. Don't you know your sister's luck? Even if I play for 10 days, I will always win. But since she wants to, tell her when you go back, let's meet again next time. Okay. Naoki nodded immediately after hearing this, and immediately grimaced. It's true that she recites like this every time, and even took my pocket money twice after losing everything. It's too much. Ha 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 ha. Did you tell your grandma? I said it, but my sister has been admonishing me repeatedly. She should be, yes, to grandma, and tell me to keep it for me. She doesn't listen to me at all. What a tragedy. It should be better when you graduate and become a jonin. Quote. Uchiha Shinta and Naoki were chatting quietly in the classroom, and the surrounding students came one after another as time went by. It wasn't long before Shinta's 2 troubles reappeared. I heard that your forehead hairline is quite high, don't go bald before graduation. Kiryu-san. You are the one. I heard that blonde hair will fall out faster. Kuchiki-san should be worried. I only heard Kiryu Wakana and Kuchiki Suzune arguing all the way from the corridor, bloody and shocking. Until the two of them found that Uchiha Shinta was already in the classroom, they immediately put aside the topic and crowded into the classroom head-to-head, wanting to be the first to run to Uchiha Shinta. Shinta-kun, let me go in first. Let me advance. Why let you advance? Then why let you advance? I'm Shinta-kun's strongest fan, of course I want to advance. Shinta-kun's strongest fan should be me. Don't spread rumors. It's just a rumor. The Shinta team I formed as the girls' team with the largest number of ninja school. So we should let others advance, right? But my true tone group is the women's group with the best results, so I should be allowed in first. Quote. Since the two of you are so polite, why don't you let me go in first, and then you go to the podium to be humble? Just as the two were wrestling with each other at the door, a sullen voice suddenly came from behind the two. Kiryu Wakana turned around first. Who? Didn't see me, teacher. Kuchiki Lingyun was frightened, but still insisted on putting her head on the opposite side. When she turned her head to the side, Teng Chongda looked at her speechlessly, and couldn't help but blush. The two looked at each other and stepped aside at the same time. Teacher, please. Seeing that the door was opened, Teng Chongda walked in and left a word. Come in, and stand on the edge of the podium. Kiryu Wakana and Kuchiki Suzune stared at each other bitterly and walked into the classroom in turn. Uchiha Shinta sat back in place long before Teng Chongda came in. I saw Teng Chongda knocked on the podium, and shouted to the whole class with a smile on his face. Students, please be quiet. Let's see if there are any students who haven't arrived. I want to report something before class. There are 2 students in our class, and I can see them arguing every time. I ran into them again this morning. Here, I will not criticize a certain Kiryu classmate and Kuchiki classmate by name. Tengchong Taihei turned his head to look at Kiryu Wakana and Kuchiki Suzune. Do you know what's wrong? Got it, teacher, I won't do it next time. Well, let's go down then. Tengchong Da took it lightly, watched the two of them return to their positions, and then flipped through the lesson plans. Students, open page XX, today we will learn how to query and track traces in the forest. Quote. Hibiki Inuzuka next to him elbowed Nawaki. Hey, have you heard? Teacher Da is getting married. Mary, did Teacher Da get married at such an old age? Uchiha Shinta raised an eyebrow. Yeah, I met them on the street at the weekend, and they held hands. Oh, then do you know how old Teacher Dahei's wife is? Uchiha Shinta ate trigrams hard up. Should be younger than Teacher Da, but I can't tell the exact age. Watching Inuzuka Bakugo Hibiki triumphantly, Uchiha Shinta decided to start the daily challenge ahead of schedule. Shang, didn't you say you saw it? How come you don't even know the age of Teacher Dahei's fiancé? Did you hear it from someone else too? How come? Hibiki Inuzuka almost jumped up, and immediately began to refute fiercely in a low voice. This is my personal experience. Hee. Then you still say you don't know your age. It must be clear when you meet. Also, Mr. Da must know your age, but do you dare to ask? Why don't you dare? Boom. Seeing that Shinta had no time to organize, Hibiki Inuzuka had already slammed down the table and asked the question directly. Teacher, how old is your fiancé? The whole class fell silent, and Uchiha Shinta turned his head away, pretending not to know Hibiki Inuzuka. 20. Tengchong Da, who was holding a textbook to give a lecture, subconsciously wanted to answer, and immediately reacted after opening his mouth. Dog. Suka. Hibiki. Don't ask irrelevant matters in class. A huge shadow fell over Inuzuka, Hibiki and Heijiro, making them nod repeatedly. Hi, woof. Tengchong Da turned his head and continued speaking. Let's take a look. Stepping on the branches, Hibiki Inuzuka sat down and stared at Uchiha Shinta angrily. It's you who caused me to be scolded by the teacher. It's all because of your question. Apologize to me. Uchiha Shinta looked back in a daze, and stole future Kakashi's emoticon package, thinking he wouldn't be angry with his beloved Obito's clan. Ah, Ring, what were you talking about just now? Konoha is peaceful today, and Uchiha Shinta's interesting campus life has just begun. Konoha Village. The gate of the ninja school. The sun rotates, and the golden crow moves westward. Uchiha Shinta only felt that the time passed quickly on campus, but it was the last class in the afternoon just in a daze. This class is a ninja cross-dressing class, taught by a chubby Chunin female teacher. All the girls in the class listened very carefully, and some of them even took notes for the whole class, and even copied down the demonstration pictures drawn by the teacher. Although Shinta felt that their motives were not pure, including the questions they asked, the focus was on how to make up and look beautiful. But I have to say that the teachers of ninja school are really professional enough. This slightly chubby female teacher used the simple tools she carried with her to change 7 or 8 different faces in a short period of time, and matched them with outfits that fit her identity. Some of these different images are noble and glamorous, some are vulgar and pungent, some are ordinary, some are passionate. Perhaps because of the influence of chakra in the ninja world, ninjas with keen perception can easily identify people through the difference of chakra. Therefore, the village is not particularly interested in these skills that can be regarded as unique skills in the previous life. The essence is told to them all in the ninja school. With the vivid live demonstration, Uchiha Shinta, who knows nothing about makeup, everyone feels enlightened. As the chubby female teacher changed into her original appearance again, the last class came to an end, and everyone packed up their belongings and prepared to go home. Uchiha Shinta packed up his things and was about to go back to the Uchiha tribe for an appointment when he was suddenly stopped by someone. "Shinta, do you want to practice ninjutsu together?" After getting along with yesterday and today, Rope Zilai Shushu extended an invitation to Shinta, the only opponent in the class what he considers to be. "No, I have something to do this afternoon." Feeling Naoki's burning gaze, Uchiha Shinta resolutely refused, and secretly slandered. What does a big man do with such a look? He couldn't bear the scorching heat. Go find someone else. All right. Naoki's face suddenly became depressed. But thinking of the story about Grandpa Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara that he pestered his sister yesterday, he immediately cheered up again. After all, in his opinion, he, Naoki, the most contemporary genius of the Senju family, Uchiha Shinta, the most contemporary genius of the Uchiha family. Therefore, Naoki plus Uchiha Shinta equals Senju Hashirama plus Uchiha Madara. Equation holds. At the beginning, grandfather Senju Hashirama also worked hard to get the approval of Uchiha Madara, and finally the two joined forces to create Konoha. And it is definitely not easy for me to get the approval of Uchiha Shinta, at least I have to be equal in strength, otherwise I will become a thigh hugger. Yoshi, I'll go back and practice later. Naoki shouted suddenly. Uchiha Shinta, who had already packed his things, didn't know that Naoki had so many inner dramas, so he just said hello and went home. After all, Shinta has to think carefully about how to make the Uchiha elders not lose too badly. After much deliberation, Shinta finally decided to refer to the last battle of the junior Uchiha Itachi vs. Uchiha Sasuke. Clan Elder, you have to work hard. I have released a Pacific Ocean in advance, don't let me release the galaxy. Single quote. Uchiha Shinta secretly thought. The training ground of the Uchiha clan is a large open space specially designated when the Uchiha clan migrated to Konoha village, and it is specially used as a training ground for the Uchiha clan ninjas. It is divided into many areas, with mountains, woodlands, lakes and many other environments, which can meet the needs of most ninjas. When Uchiha Shinta stepped into the training ground, he found that the Uchiha tribe had already arrived and waited. Clan Elder. Shinta raised his right hand in greeting. Well, Shinta, you come with me. The elder Uchiha leapt into the forest, stepped on the trees and headed northeast, followed by Shinta. As soon as Uchiha Shinta came in, he observed that the clan elder specially wore a black cloak coat today, which covered the whole body and could not see the clothes clearly, and it was squeaking under the extremely fast running. Could it be armor? Shinta secretly guessed. After a while, under the leadership of the Uchiha elders, Uchiha Shinta came to an uninhabited area in the northeast of the training ground. The two stood opposite each other. The elder of the Uchiha clan spoke first. The old man's name is Uchiha Hayato. He was born in the Sengoku period. He has fought hundreds of battles in his life. He has fought against the old opponents of the Senju clan, and also fought with small clans such as the Sarutobi clan, Shimura clan, and Aburame clan. After Konoha village was established, I also went into battle in the First Ninja World War, and confronted Cage. There are winners and losers in the battle of this life, but I pay for my experience. So, today I will test your strength and potential, Shinta, and then decide how to make up for your shortcomings. Clan Elder Uchiha Falconto waved his right hand vigorously, and the black cloak on his body fell to the ground, and Uchiha Falconto, who was on the spot, was dressed in Sengoku armor. I saw a pair of red armor on his left and right shoulders, on the back of his chest, and under his crotch. A few scratches on it not only did not make it look worn out, but on the contrary showed the glorious years he had experienced. In line with the overwhelming killing momentum, the solemn Uchiha Falconto appeared extraordinarily majestic. Seeing Uchiha Hayato's momentum, Uchiha Shinta couldn't help but become solemn. With his left hand behind his back, he extended his right hand forward. Clan Elder, please. Good. Fire-style Great Fireball technique. Clan Elder Uchiha Falcon opened the Sharingan in response, and the three-hook jade rotated rapidly, his hands formed seals, and he spit out a fireball from his mouth. Ha! Illusion. Uchiha Shinta was about to jump up to avoid the Great Fireball technique, and suddenly felt that his chakra was disturbed, and the body replacement technique was automatically activated, and the flow of chakra became stable during the change of body shape. The evasion action was interrupted, and Shinta simply didn't want to dodge, and directly erected the one-hand seal. A clone was separated in the body replacement technique state, and went to meet the oncoming Great Fireball, and then seemed to be in a different position. Straight through the world. Shinta didn't dodge himself, waiting for the slow Great Fireball coming in front of him, filling his left hand with chakra, and shattering the Great Fireball with a wave of his hand, causing a fiery wind to blow everything behind him. Konoha Village, northeast corner of the training ground of the Uchiha tribe. After the Uchiha clan elder activated the illusion and spit out fireballs, he suddenly jumped to the side and rear. Two shadow clones were separated in the middle of the seal. One stood on the big tree on the edge of the field, ready to attack forward at any time. The other was hidden and lurking in the opposite woods to respond at any time. The main body quickly evacuated to the rear hundreds of meters away, preventing yesterday's S-level powerful fireball while waiting for the shadow clone to test Uchiha Shinta's information before deciding whether to attack or retreat. Just as the shadow clone of Uchiha Hayato had just stood still on the big tree, he suddenly discovered that a figure of Uchiha Shinta appeared in the middle of the great fireball that had just advanced about 1/10 of the distance, as if coming out of another space. Under the observation of 3 Tomo Sharingan, there are only a few chakra flow lines in this figure, which is obviously an improved clone of Shinta. It's just that I don't know how to achieve the effect of directly penetrating the Great Fireball technique. Swoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Uchiha Falconto shadow clone suddenly threw 3 kunai from the big tree, and made a tentative attack on Uchiha Shinta clone in a triangle. Since it can pass through ninjutsu, it should also be able to ignore physical attacks. Single quote. Sure enough, the 3-handed kunai directly passed through the eyebrows and chest of Uchiha Shinta's avatar, and then shot to the ground and exploded with a boom. Apparently kunai has an explosive device. Uchiha Shinta's thoughts circulated in the avatar, looking around like a real person, locking on the figure of Uchiha Hayato, without worrying about the Great Fireball technique, attacking the main body behind him and the kunai explosion that was close at hand. One on the tree, one in the opposite forest, and one nearly a kilometer away. Hee, am I so scary? Uchiha Shinta whispered. Under the induction of the body replacement technique field, the actions of the Uchiha clan elders could not cause the slightest concealment. It was discovered. On the big tree, Uchiha Falconto shadow clone's forehead was covered with cold sweat. Proficient in lip language, he read all his actions from Uchiha Shinta's unabashed whispers on the opposite side. He started to make a seal, wanting to release shadow clone to remind the main body, but put it down halfway through the seal. It's not okay to be frightened to release the clone without a single battle, and you can't let the younger generation look down upon it. Single quote. He took out his kunai, ready to step forward to melee to test the specific information. The clone of Uchiha Shinta on the opposite side also made a high-speed save, leaping to attack Uchiha Falconto shadow clone on the tree. At this moment, the Great Fireball, that Uchiha Hayato spit out at the beginning of the battle finally reached where Uchiha Shinta's main body was. Boom! The huge fireball was directly scattered, and the hot wind swept across the open space of the training ground. The remaining flames fell on the ground and ignited dead branches, and were blown out by the strong wind. Uchiha looked at the place where the fireball dissipated from the corner of his eye, and a familiar figure walked out. It was Uchiha Shinta himself. I saw that he was completely intact, raised his head and looked at him, and suddenly jumped up and disappeared. When it reappeared, it had overlapped and separated from the avatar in front of itself. Is it the Flying Thunder God? Or other space-time ninjutsu? Or physical extreme speed? Single quote. Uchiha's shadow clone analyzed calmly. Do not. It shouldn't be physical skills, he is not performing so fast now. Single quote. Uchiha Shinta and his clone attacked at such a fast speed that they even formed afterimages in 3 Tomo Sharingan's vision. However, there is still a clear gap between the teleportation-like extreme speed without the slightest trace. Uchiha Hayato's shadow clone wants to continue to test, but Uchiha Shinta accepts it and can't last a single round. Under the extremely fast attack, it is difficult for Uchiha Falconto, who is overwhelmed, to quickly distinguish whether it is a clone or a real body. Even when I wanted to seal, I was repeatedly interrupted. He saw his own kunai passing through the body of Uchiha Shinta, as if passing through the air. When he sideways blocked the attack of another Uchiha Shinta who followed him like a shadow, he was directly broken by the phantom-like clone just now. Shadow clone. Nearly broken, he heard Uchiha Shinta's crooning. Kyoka Suigetsu Thousand Crane Dance. When the shadow clone dissipated, the shadow clone hidden under the woods on the opposite side and the Uchiha Hayato body hundreds of meters away were shocked at the same time. ... Has it been killed so quickly? It will be soon. Uchiha Falconto lowered his head and continued to deploy the detonating talisman, pulling away the distance. He impressively set up the detonating talisman array hundreds of meters away. ... It is even more difficult for the shadow clone who is hiding in the opposite woods and preparing to respond. After receiving the scattered shadow clone memory, he immediately jumped up and fled in the opposite direction of the main body when he realized that he had been discovered. From the same source, knowing the main body's plan, he now has to stall for the main body. And he believes that Uchiha Shinta, an arrogant kid, will definitely get rid of him who is closer, and then find the main body. Sure enough, before he escaped 100 meters, he turned the Sharingan quickly and found that there were shadows all around Uchiha Shinta's avatar, and he had already surrounded himself. You should be able to switch between clones at any time with this technique, right? And clones can completely avoid attacks. From this point of view, this technique has surpassed the Flying Thunder God technique of Senju Tobarama in 2nd generation. What an amazing junior! Facing the siege of the clones, Uchiha Falconto did not change his face. Facing the opposite direction of his body, he praised a clone of Uchiha Shinta. The next moment, a double image appeared on the clone in front of him, and Uchiha Shinta walked out of it. The clan elders are old and strong. For delaying me so hard, it seems that they have set up a trump card for me. Although Uchiha Shinta was talking to the old shadow clone of the same clan, his eyes seemed to have crossed the scene in the wide woods, and saw the clan elder who buried the detonating talisman. No way. Before your technique, any ninjutsu attack can be dodged, and the only way to win is to rely on some ninja's dark tricks and common sense. Although the elder of the Uchiha tribe said, shady tricks, no one would think that he was using a conspiracy from that bold tone. And this is what you should pay attention to, Shinta. You can go all over the world with this ninjutsu, but you must also pay attention to the cold arrows in the dark. Uchiha warned. Well, I will keep in mind the teachings of the clan elders. Uchiha Shinta cupped his hands, then jumped up and ran towards Uchiha Falconto's body, separated the shadow clone's attack-wielding kunai in midair, and then blasted the shadow clone with a snap of his fingers. Hundreds of meters away from the training ground. The last shadow clone dissipated, and the main body of the elder Uchiha Falconto shook, and then he forcibly suppressed his fatigue, and buried the last detonating talisman. It's old. It's so slow to bury a detonating talisman now. Uchiha Falconto slowly walked to the only safe place in the detonation rune and stood still, before slowly recalling and thinking about the information delivered by Shadow Clone. The young people nowadays are really amazing. not only ninjutsu, but even body art are so superb. The clan elders are too proud. The figure of Uchiha Shinta stepped out of the woods and walked towards Uchiha Falconto step by step. Under the observation of 3 Tomo Sharingan, what is in front of him is the main body. Are you completely indifferent to the enemy's attack? You can't be too arrogant. Uchiha Shinta. Clan elder Uchiha Falconto roared as Uchiha Shinta advanced, and his hands began to seal. The array of detonating symbols. Explode. As the attack that the clan elder said is the detonation rune array. This can't help me at all. Boom, 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 boom. The voices of the two sounded at the same time, but were covered by hundreds of explosions in succession. As the explosion ended and the smoke was blown away by the wind, the figure of Uchiha Shinta was still walking towards the clan elder Uchiha Falconto in a leisurely manner. Looking at the unscathed figure in front of him, Uchiha couldn't help but smile. As expected, you are the most talented junior of the Uchiha clan. Even the detonating rune array composed of hundreds of detonating symbols can't do anything to you. But have you noticed the seal laid down here? Uchiha Shinta stopped and looked down at the ground. I saw that with myself as the center. Dense seal lines emerged from the ground, forming a solid space to suppress myself. The so-called ninja is someone who can endure all failures for the sake of ideals. Remember, Shinta, no matter how strong the enemy is, as long as you don't give up, you will eventually win. But before that, you have to be able to tolerate failure. Clan elder Uchiha put his hands together, intending to lift the seal, but suddenly stopped. Uchiha Shinta in front of him once again took the stagnant pace, walked out of the sealed space with a flickering figure, and came in front of him. Clan elder, although what you said is very reasonable, if you don't have stronger means, you will lose this time. The elder of the Uchiha tribe opened his eyes wide, looking at the graceful young man in front of him with his hands hanging down, and the corners of his mouth from bending to opening into a big laugh. Ha 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 ha. I won this time too. Ha 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 ha. He stared blankly at Uchiha Shinta. The rise of Uchiha, who has been waiting for half a lifetime, is finally here. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.